Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Well, on that exciting note, let's just start the program. So apparently we're having a little computer issue, but Chris Webber is now going to the emergency ball-peen hammer, and we'll beat the technology back into submission in short order, I am sure.
That was weird.
Hello, everybody. This is Brian Wilson, and you're listening to The Drive on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Ding, ding, ding.
You know, I can actually do this for you.
Hit it.
There we go. Nice.
Solid information. News you can use.
Oh, that's different.
Buckle up, everyone. This is The Drive with Brian Wilson on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
All right, hey, everybody. I'm Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. Off to a rough start, but a start nonetheless. We're going to bring you news and information as you drive home today, as you're out running around in your car, whatever you're doing. Maybe you're listening on the web. Maybe you're listening on our Super Talk TV. Whatever it is, we're glad to have you. And we've got a lot of news today. A lot of news to bring you up to date on. In fact, boy, I got to just say, Matt Murphy, he was on fire just a few moments ago. Hang on a second. There would be a ding there, normally.
We should have thrown that in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I had the bell
If I had
right
any
here.
buttons that would work, then I would have done it. But
How about? There we go. All right, it's all
there we
done
go.
now.
We're good.
Better late than never. All right, listen, we shake it off. What's behind you is not important. What is in front of you is important. And I want to start off with a story about crime in D.C. and how it's spiraling out of control. We have, in this month alone, this is the end of the month, 30th day of April, there have been 12 homicides in Nashville. 12 homicides. And Chief Drake yesterday gathered reporters together to say he is very, very worried about what's going on with our system here in Nashville, and that the justice system is putting repeat offenders back out on the street too easily. Here is a little bit of what Chief Drake had to say yesterday.
How do we tell mom that your baby wouldn't have been harmed if we would have done something with this person? Actually, on this side of the fence, we're tired of having those conversations. We wanted to stop.
They want it to stop, and I think it should stop. He says we're sounding the alarm over and over again. the same people are being rearrested and charged with violent crime, and the system is not doing enough to protect the citizenry. Police officers are frustrated. I hear this all the time from rank-and-file police officers who are listeners to this program. They say, look, we do our job. We go out and we arrest the bad people and we put them into the system, and within a few minutes they're out on bail. Or they, if they are put on bond, it's a very, very low bond, and it never really stops them. And we have a statistic here that's pretty shocking. 16% of the people who are out on bond get arrested for breaking another law. 16%. So how is it that we're not taking people who are violent criminals, especially, and making arrangements to keep them off the street? Our good friends over at Channel 4, Brendan Tierney was the reporter on this story yesterday for Channel 4, and here in about 2 minutes he sums up more of what Chief Drake had to say.
Metro Police Chief John Drake says he's sounding the alarm about a trend of people out on bond committing other violent crimes. Metro Police say a 15-year-old MLK Magnet school student was almost kidnapped getting off the bus last week. It happened just days after Jamie and Taylor was released from jail on a $3,000 bond.
It's been very, very concerning.
Police say Taylor was first arrested on April 17th for making unwanted sexual advances towards a woman in this downtown parking garage. Chief Drake says Taylor's easy release from jail is nothing new. Anton Rucker, who was arrested for killing one person and injuring 5 others in the Easter brunch shooting, was out on bond at the time for multiple gun and assault charges.
The system can't make those kind of mistakes.
The district attorney's office filed motions to revoke bonds that are all set by magistrates. They say public safety is their top priority. In Taylor's case, the DA cites the increasingly serious nature of the offenses, along with committing other offenses while released.
Time to have more discussion and look at people that are really a problem for community safety to have more conversation with.
Chief Drake is also concerned about repeat offenders like Carl Jerome Hamilton, who has been charged 105 times since 2007. He says they should have been able to prevent him from raping, kidnapping, and robbing a 25-year-old Amazon delivery driver at this downtown apartment building on Friday.
I would say the system overall continues to fail people. Once we arrest them and they're back out, that's a problem.
Chief Drake says 16% of people arrested for violent crimes are rearrested while they're out on pretrial bond. He says that while he supports the right for bond, judges have to set it high enough to protect the community from dangerous people. In South Nashville, Brendan Tierney, WSMV4.
So I think a great report there by Brendan Tierney of Channel 4, and we thank Channel 4 for that report. Listen, I'm telling you, I don't always agree with Chief Drake. I don't. I don't like this term community policing, which sounds like a good thing, but really is an attempt to try to, I think, go a little soft on people who are convicted or charged with violent crimes. That's my personal opinion, but I do agree with Chief Drake that bonds are being set too low, and this falls at the hands of the judges who are hearing the bond hearings. When you get arrested, if they take you in before a judge and a judge issues a bond, and the bond is so ridiculously low that you're out there back on the streets after having committed a violent crime. This guy who committed 105 different charges, this guy named Hamilton, he had 105 charges over his lifetime, said the chief. The 34-year-old was charged with aggravated rape, aggravated kidnapping, and robbery. According to Metro Police, the 25-year-old victim was delivering packages at an apartment complex like 4 a.m. when Hamilton pushed her further into the mailroom and shut the door. He then reportedly sexually assaulted her and forced her to drive him to an ATM where he used her debit card to withdraw $100. And by the way, I don't think it was over that. I think he made her drive him around for a while after that. Hamilton had been arrested for kidnapping and robbery in 2020 in relation to his assault on a 24-year-old woman on Academy Place. He was convicted of those offenses in July of 2022 and received a 6-year sentence. And by the way, the apartment building manager where this attack allegedly occurred, well, it did occur. It just the crime is alleged. It occurred. Police told police they knew the guy by name because he had been arrested on the property back on March 5th and January 6th for criminal trespassing. 105 charges. Carl Jerome Hamilton should not have been on the street. He should have been behind bars. The bond should have been set so high that he couldn't possibly get back out. So, listen, I agree with Chief about this one. We need to have our judges get serious about setting bonds that stick. Now, I'm not leaving it there. I'll go a step further than the Chief. I believe part of the problem is that a lot of times people who are charged with what we would consider violent crimes have the charges downgraded during the process by the district attorney's office. I think there are many cases where they say, well, we don't really want to go to trial. We don't have the resources to go to trial. That's the excuse they always get. We don't have the resources. So let's cut some kind of plea deal. And so they lower the charge so it's not as bad in exchange for the guy pleading guilty. And then maybe they put him back out on parole. Or sometimes it's a lesser criminal sentence. Listen, I think we're going to have to start getting tough on crime in Nashville. And when police arrest someone, the judges that are hearing the bond requests need to give a bond that is commensurate with what exactly they've been charged with. I mean, you come to a court, yes, you're innocent until proven guilty. But when there's a violent element to what you've done, I think it's incumbent upon the judges to set that bond pretty high. And they're not. They're simply not doing it. And then if they do, they set the charge and they're set up, now the DA's office. Well, we got a lot of cases here. We can't try them all. So why don't we cut some kind of special plea deal? And they cut a deal that puts them back out on the street either immediately or much sooner than they would have otherwise if they had gone to trial. The people in this town are tired of the meanness that we've started to see. I mean, we've had some other things out there. I mean, what about this poor guy this student from Mizzou? Something bad happened to this guy, and I think personally there was a violent element to it. We've still not figured that one out. We have missing people. We don't know where they went. I think there's likely a violent element to that. But there are too many bad people on the streets with guns, prepared to do violent things, and we need to start cleaning this up. And the way that starts is having the bond set a little higher. Chief Drake is absolutely right about that.
Very troubling, as I said. If you commit a murder and 6 months later you're out, or a year later you're out. We're seeing that trend pop up a lot more since 2020, and we're hoping, and the reason why, I'm talking today is I'm hoping to shine some light, and some other people that'll see this will start saying, we need to do our part too, and it's time for all of us to come to the table and try to fix this.
Yes, let's try to fix this. Let's get to the table. Let's have a conference. Let's do whatever we need to do. But the people who are in charge of adjudicating and the judicial criminal judicial system need to get serious about cracking down on people who have violent tendencies. Yeah, I know it. I'm sorry. It's a lot of people don't want to do that right now. They don't want, the judges understand that if they crack down, that maybe they won't be judges very long. So what? Your first and most important thing that you do in a community, if you're in law enforcement or if you're in government in any way or in the judiciary system, your first and foremost responsibility is not to the criminal, it's to making sure that the people on the street are safe. Let's start thinking about the people on the street and a little less about, well, poor fella had some bad brakes. We don't really want to lower the hammer on this guy. No, let's get busy and let's make sure that we, number one, are thinking about the safety of people on our streets in Nashville. Let's make sure that we're setting the bonds where they need to be, not ridiculously low. Let's put people behind bars. Let's prosecute people who have violent tendencies. Let's keep them behind bars. And I guarantee you, I guarantee you within 6 months, we can start seeing the results of that. But right now, if you're a resident of Nashville or one of the many people within the sound of my voice who work in Nashville but may live elsewhere, understand that violent criminals are on the street because the judges won't do what they should do, which is set a high bond, and the prosecutors are not prosecuting these cases the way they need to be done. They say, well, we don't have the resources. I don't know if that's true or not. One way or the other, I'd like to see a few more of these cases being tried instead of just doing a plea bargain. Listen, I'm telling you, you talk to any cop out on the street, and they will tell you that I am absolutely right about this. It's 20 minutes now past the hour. Let me tell you about the Beehive Club over at Busy Bee HVAC and Plumbing. Listen, if you have an HVAC AC system that is on the brink, well, first of all, just call them. You know the number, 615-775-7833. But the way you avoid having those things break down at the last minute or unexpectedly is that you're doing something proactively. You're doing a little preventative maintenance. Remember how your dad told you got to do maintenance on your car or it's going to break down when you least expect it? Same thing with HVAC and plumbing. So become a member of the Beehive Club. It starts at $99, and for that you'll receive 3 annual tune-ups of your heating system, one aimed at your cooling system, one aimed at plumbing. You get a 10% discount on repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, $100 annual accrued replacement credit with a maximum of $1,000. That could really help when things do start to go bad. You will not pay any overtime or holiday fees, and you'll be given the word on exclusive Beehive members promotions. Here's something else you need to know. You got a heating and cooling project? If you can pay it off in 15 months, you can get a 0% interest loan. For plumbing, you got 18 months. If you can get it done in 18 months, you don't have to pay a penny in interest. Listen, I'm telling you, for satisfaction guaranteed, call Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating and Cooling, 615-775-7833, or online at busybeehvac.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
More testimony in the Donald Trump hush money trial. Multiple people displaced from their homes due to a fire. And businesses in L.A. could soon be required to accept cash. It's all coming up. 3:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
There's Mac Maury. He's got all your stories. Also the host of the Runaway Smash Hit segment, Mac Maury's Wild, Weird, Wacky World of Sports. I run out of W's. But anyway, we're glad that you're here back after a day off. Mm-hmm. Where we said that yesterday that you care for your dog more than Christy Nome cared for Cricket. That's for sure.
Low bar, but I'm glad I passed it.
That's right. You were off yesterday dealing with some pet issues, and I understand that. You know, when the dog needs to go to the doc, you got to take the dog to the doc. That's right. So I'm glad that you were able to do that. Good to have you back in the chair.
Thank you.
Chris was off doing, I don't know what he was doing, sloughing off yesterday.
I had to take myself to the doc.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Well, that happens now and then.
I guess they are doctors. I just offended a dentist everywhere.
No.
Of course you're doctors. Of course you're doctors.
Well, listen, as someone who is married to a dental hygienist, you'll never hear me say a bad word about dentists, for sure. This was the sound just a few moments ago as we opened our show. It was going right down the toilet there, didn't it?
Pretty much how it sounded on this end, yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had a computer meltdown. Why? This has happened to us a couple of times.
Yeah.
Where I don't know what it is about the changeover when Matt leaves and you take over, but something happens to that computer on occasion.
I could venture a guess, but I won't go there. But no, it's just mere coincidence, I'm sure. It's just one of those things. That was a different one where it just kind of quit in the middle of something. And then it just kind of sat there, and it's like,
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, if I push this button, nope, that didn't do anything. This button, nope. It just said, no, I'm not going to do it.
Well, don't worry, because I've got all the things here. I've got it right at my fingertips. If you freeze, I can always, do the...
Oh, yeah, nice.
Is The Drive
Yeah.
on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Yeah, I've got that right there.
Yeah. Let's just let you handle all the buttons.
No.
I'll have a break.
No, but I also have a button for this, which is Kamala Harris's laugh.
Yikes. That needs to be paired with this.
Oh, well, and some buttons I can no longer use. I've been told I can't use those buttons anymore. But I've got a lot of stuff. Let's go back into the archives of some of the stuff that I haven't used in forever.
Okay.
First of all, there's the bird scooter noise.
I like that. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Here's this one.
We ain't one at a time in here. We're mass communicating.
I love that one.
That was one of Ken Weaver's favorites.
That's Ken.
I know, and he uses those. And then about this one. This one's from one of my favorite movies.
We've got to protect our phony baloney job, gentlemen. We must do something about this immediately.
I didn't get a harump out of you.
I didn't get a harump out of you. What's the matter with you?
Brian Wilson.
That's me. And then there's the other one. The other Wilson button is it's from the movie. What was it?
Castaway.
Castaway.
Wilson! 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 Wilson!
He's so sad.
Wilson.
Wilson! Wilson!
That when that movie came out, everywhere I went, people go, Wilson!
Oh, I bet.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah, and a name after a volleyball.
He had nice hair, though.
Yeah,
He did.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it's probably the ones I don't use very often. I don't use these at all, and we really should use these. These are good. You ready?
Yeah.
99.7 WTN.
Nice.
I mean, do you
Kind
like
of
that
old
one?
school.
Yeah.
It's old school.
99.7 WTN.
Or maybe this one.
99.7 WTN.
I love
that. I love the reverb on that.
99.7. 99.
Well, whatever. We should use more buttons. I'm in favor of using all the buttons. A couple of things real quick while our time is running down here before we go to the news. Cicadas are starting to show up.
Oh, boy.
Cicadas are making an appearance in Middle Tennessee. They've been spotted in Murfreesboro and other places, so get ready. The cicada invasion. Billions and billions of little red-eyed buggy things making a bunch of racket. They're coming to a tree near you. So that's about to happen. And also, we have solved. Finally, I can report we have solved the mad robin problem. As you know, I've had a robin that's been attacking my studio window for the better part of a week now. And everything we tried, we've tried first of all cutting the branches so you couldn't get too close to the window. Didn't stop the bird. Bird just flew into the window repeatedly, and wouldn't stop. And then so we decide the rubber snakes. By the way, somebody put a package on my front door last night full of rubber snakes. And it was like I got like 4 beautifully. They're very colorful snakes. And so to my Watertown neighbor who did that, thank you very much. But the snakes didn't work. It didn't work. The bird just looked at the snake, said, "That's a rubber snake. I don't care. I don't know." But what happened? But so the thing that worked. We remember how during Christmas we always put the cutout of Buddy the Elf behind us here in the studio?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a life-size cutout of Buddy the Elf.
Looking very excited.
He looks very excited. And you may have seen this, a lot of people have these as inflatables at Christmas, etc. Well, Buddy the Elf is now peering out the window. And since Cabana Wife put Buddy the Elf there yesterday, the bird has not come back.
Wow.
Buddy the Elf, making a rare springtime appearance, has solved the robin problem.
I'll be interested to see. You should let it, sit for a couple of days, but then remove Buddy and see if he ever comes back.
See if the bird comes back. That's it.
Feel bad for Buddy. No one wants to hang out with Buddy.
Yeah, I know.
Too excited, man. Buddy, it's all that sugar.
Yeah, Buddy the Scarecrow. I think what I should do is put a cutout of Joe Biden over his face, and that would terrify all animals in Wilson County. 31 past the hour now. Time for the news.
31 minutes after the hour of 3 o'clock. I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 78 degrees, partly sunny here on Music Row. Got a weather forecast and a traffic report on the way in 5 minutes. Some more testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trial. Here's Derek Dennis and Aaron Katursky.
Prosecutor should witness Keith Davidson still on the stand as the lawyer who represented both Karen McDougal and porn actress Stormy Daniels and brokered payments to both. Shown in court, a wire transfer allegedly from Gary Farrell, the former banker of Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen.
The jury has seen the wire transfer, the first bit of the wire transfer of $130,000. And Farrell's going to go through all of that with the jury again today so they can understand that this hush money, as it was actually paid, and they can see how it was paid from this account, this shell company account, to Stormy Daniels through her lawyer.
And here in Tennessee, a fire. News 2 reports that at least 15 people were displaced at the Pepper Tree Apartments in Antioch from flames. It began in Building O of the complex. There were no injuries reported. The cause of the fire still under investigation. Those 15 people now without a home. And businesses in Los Angeles could soon be required to accept cash. Blake Trolley, more.
Under a motion introduced by Councilwoman Heather Hutt, cashless businesses would be banned in the city. Hutt says cashless businesses exclude people of color, people who are too young to get a debit or credit card, and seniors who still only use cash.
There are thousands of our neighbors, friends, and loved ones that should not be excluded from participating in our city's economy.
The motion will head to the Trade, Travel, and Tourism Committee in June before the entire city council will possibly vote on it.
And that is the latest news. Traffic, weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
It's 38 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. I'm Brian Wilson. You're listening to The Drive here on Super Talk 99.7. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. The state of Tennessee is joining the states of Texas, states of Florida, and a handful of other states, and going after the Biden administration over new rewrites of Title IX. Title IX. I mean, the idea here was that we are going to give women an equal opportunity to play sports alongside men. In the field of athletic endeavor, there should be programs for men, and if there's going to be a program for men, there should be a commensurate program for women. That was the idea behind Title IX, and thank goodness. I mean, as the dad of a high school athlete, I was really tickled that there was a girls' soccer team at the high school where she went to school. And I wanted her to have that opportunity. It was a great experience. You learn about teamwork. You learn about what it takes to be committed to something. I mean, everything about sports, I think, brings a positive side to it. It really is very character building. As I once told my daughter, I said, sometimes you win games, and some days you build character. And there were times in the very beginning where we built a lot of character. But she turned out to be a great student athlete, and I was very happy that there was a system in place where she could do that. Now Title IX is being rewritten so that it instead of just being about making sure that women have an equal opportunity on the field of athletic endeavor, it now is saying that, men can play on women's team, and it's a good thing, according to the Biden administration. Jonathan Scarmetti is our Attorney General. He held a press conference today where he talked about this lawsuit where he, along with a lot of other states around the country, are going to challenge this rewrite of Title IX.
When Title IX was passed, and until very recently, everybody understood it to refer explicitly and exclusively to sex discrimination. Now, the new rule expands Title IX and says that it prohibits discrimination based on gender identity. Under this new rule, a boy can walk into a girl's locker room at a school, and if the girl complains that his presence makes her uncomfortable, she can be brought up for investigation and potential penalties for violating civil rights. The new rule is entirely inconsistent with the text of Title IX, and its adoption violates the United States Constitution. We filed a comment letter when the rule was proposed that pointed out many of these deficiencies, and we're now raising the same points in litigation. The new rule exceeds the authority granted to the agency by the statute. The statute authorizes the Department of Education to prohibit sex discrimination. By rewriting the statute, the department has undermined the congressional authority to make laws. In our system of separation of powers, the people's elected representatives make the laws, and here we see agency bureaucrats seeking to rewrite those laws without any accountability to the people. The new rule violates the First Amendment. The Sixth Circuit, the federal circuit court that covers Tennessee, among other states, has already recognized a First Amendment right to use biologically accurate pronouns, said that's protected speech. This rule conflicts with that. The rule violates the spending clause. The penalty for not complying with Title IX can ultimately be withholding of federal funds from a state or from an agency or local education authority. And here, the conditions at the time that the state agreed to take the money were very different than the conditions that the government seeks to impose now. That's a constitutional violation. And the new rule violates federalism. The agency is required to take into account the impact on the states. We have a number of laws here in Tennessee that were adopted by the people's elected representatives in this state that conflict with this rule, and the agency never considered that impact. Now, the Department of Education previously issued guidance along these same lines, seeking to promote the same understanding of Title IX. We won an injunction against that guidance, and now we're litigating against the rule. We're litigating hard on behalf of the people of Tennessee, and we expect we're going to win.
Let me just say one thing about why this is happening now. And I'll get into this a little bit later in the 2024 report. But there are a lot of things that the Biden administration is trying to shove into the system at the last minute before the election. I think it reflects the pessimism they have about the possibility that Donald Trump is going to be reelected and Joe Biden is going to be out of office. They want to try to shove as much stuff into the system as they can. Number one, it sells with some of their constituencies who take note of these things. The transgender community, the gay community, all probably largely in favor of this, and they largely vote in the Democrat election for the Democrat in the election. I think that's part of it. And I think that there are other things that they're trying to do because they are, I think, beginning to panic a little bit that if they don't do it now, they may not have the opportunity to do it. So a lot of stuff is going to get thrown, into the hopper and into the system. And I'll go over some of that a little bit later. Now, Riley Gaines is someone who has experienced, the bad side of having to compete against men on the field of athletic play, men who now identify as women. And she was on earlier today with Matt Murphy.
The Biden administration has taken this 37-word piece of legislation and created a 1,577-page rewrite of Title IX. Of course, there's a lot of fluff. Obviously, when you go from 37 words to 1,500 pages. But the intention of this new rewrite, what they've done here is equate sex with gender identity, which is harmful and dangerous in a number of ways. But very briefly here, what this does, to lay it out, it means men can take academic and athletic scholarships away from women. It means men have the potential to be housed in dorm rooms with women. Men would have full access to bathrooms, locker rooms, changing spaces on any educational program that receives federal funding. So that's even including like a YMCA. Your speech would be compelled. You would be forced to use the preferred pronouns of someone, of everyone. So if you, a faculty member or a student, a teacher, professor, what have you, or if you, a 17-year-old girl who goes away from her family, goes off to college, if you're housed in a dorm room with a male and you feel uncomfortable about this and you go to your administration and express your discomfort, you would be guilty and charged with sexual harassment under this new rewrite. No, not the man parading around your locker room. No, to Joe Biden, that's considered brave. It's considered stunning and inspiring and whatever other virtuous word they want to use. But you calling a spade is grounds for sexual harassment.
I mean, can you imagine if you're a parent of a young female athlete having to put up with the fact that there is now an individual who was born male but now identifies as a woman, wants to play women's athletics, and now is going to be using the same dressing room that your girl student athlete is using, the same bathroom? That's one side of it. I mean, that's very troubling. That is very troubling. But let's look at the other side of it. I mean, as Riley Gaines would no doubt tell you, it's unfair. Men born biologically male have an athletic advantage. They are just more muscular. They are stronger. Men are generally stronger than women, at least when it comes to muscles. I know a lot of women are very strong. I'm married to one who's stronger than me in many ways, but not in that way. And so my daughter was a defensive back. She was like the last line of defense before you get to the goalie. And she was very good at what she did. But can you imagine my little daughter going up against a striker from the other side who was born a male and now identifies as a woman? He's going to tower over her. He's going to be more powerful. He's going to be faster. He's going to be quicker. She is going to be quicker. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to misgender anybody. Don't at me. But I'm saying it would be an uneven match. And somebody's going to get hurt in that situation. Somebody's going to get injured in a situation like in basketball. Somebody's going to get hurt. And so I just think we've lost our minds here in this country. This is not right. Now, I don't have anything against people who decide as adults that they were born in the wrong body and they want to go out there and they want to change their sex. I mean, okay, I don't understand it. I don't have to understand it, but you be you. But the moment that you start coming into the field of athletic play and putting my daughter at risk, then I got a word to say about that. This is insanity. This is nuts beyond belief. And yet it's happening, and they're doing it. And you're going to see a lot of woke stuff come across the transom from the Biden administration as we reach the last days of the first term of his office before we get to election. Number one, it helps them in some constituencies. Number two, that there are people inside the Biden administration who really running the place who made a decision recently that I think that they're panicked that things are not looking too good for Joe Biden. So let's get it across the goal line while we can. There's a bunch of Green New Deal that's coming across. There's a bunch of stuff regarding to the oil drilling rights that the government controls, and that's coming across the transom. They're trying to do everything they can to take these leftist ideas and shove them down our throats right now while they have the opportunity, because they're afraid, well, we may not have the opportunity after November 5th. It is, it's wrong. I salute Attorney General Skermetti. I salute the Attorney Generals of Texas and Florida for taking this on, and let's see if we can get some sanity out of the judicial system, even if it has to go all the way to the Supreme Court to find it. It's now 50 minutes past the hour. I want you to think about saying goodbye to one-size-fits-all approaches when it comes to losing weight. The tailored weight loss programs at Restoration Wellness Med Spa take into account your unique needs, your lifestyle, your goals. Whether you're looking to shed those extra pounds or boost your energy or just improve your overall health, Restoration Wellness has the solution for you. Join over 1,000 patients who have already seen life-changing results from the team at Restoration Wellness, including me and Cabana White. We're very happy. I'm in a weight loss program now that's really paying off. And you know what? The wonderful thing about it is I am losing weight and I am not hungry. It's the best thing ever. So why don't you give them a call at 615-470-8124. That's 615-470-8124, or visit them at their website, restorationwellnessmedspa.com. Make this the summer your season of change. It's now 51 minutes past the hour.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
Protests still roaring on around the nation. It could be made a felony in Tennessee to help a minor with an out-of-state abortion. More sickness coming out of a specific kind of area in the nation. We'll tell you where. Plus, a new animal at the Nashville Zoo. Those stories, 4 o'clock, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
All right, let's take a look at the markets right now. Not a particularly good day. The major indices are all down. Dow Jones Industrial down a whopping 570 points. That's about 1.5%. The S&P down about the same level, 1.5%, down 80 points. The NASDAQ down 2%, 325 points, as this month wraps up to be the worst month since September of 2022. What's going on there? Well, it's just a bunch of bad economic news. But if you're looking for some good economic news, if you're a homeowner, your house is continuing to grow in value. And Ty Draper is standing by with more information on that. Hello, Ty.
Hey, Brian. Home prices jumped in March 6.4% year over year, according to a Case-Shiller National Home Price Index study. And this marks the fastest rate of price growth since November of 2022. The increase stems from strong demand coupled with a continued tight supply. And closer to home, Nashville saw a 10.2% increase in home prices year over year and took about 57 days to sell. Buyers still have an increased appetite, with current mortgage rates hovering at 7.5%, which is nearly as high as Hunter Biden was when he texted Chinese officials.
All right. Thank you for that, Ty. Listen, you find out about Ty and John Maxon and all the good people over at Beacon Capital Management and the things they can do for you to help you get ready for your retirement. Just go to their website, askbeaconnow.com. It's 58 minutes past the hour of 3 o'clock. You know, and speaking of Beacon, are your retirement assets structured to minimize taxes? This is something you got to think about. Might be hard to believe, but many hardworking Americans, just like you, could be overpaying on taxes in retirement. You can be taxed on your IRA, your 401k, and any other tax-deferred retirement accounts. Beacon Capital Management is here to give you peace of mind. With the threat of massive tax increases just around the corner, your nest egg could be in trouble unless you take advantage of defensive tax-saving strategies right now. You need to defend your hard-earned retirements by retirement savings by scheduling a free retirement tax reduction analysis today. That's right. It's free. No cost, no pressure, no obligation. If you've saved more than $250,000 for retirement, don't wait any longer to schedule your free retirement tax reduction analysis from Beacon. Just call them at this number. You ready? Write it down. 615-488-9303. Do not spend more on taxes than you need to spend. And for more details, you can go to their website, askbeaconnow.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
.401, I'm Mac Morey with your top stories. Mostly sunny on Music Row, 78 degrees here. Complete weather forecast, plus that traffic report 5 minutes away. A shift in protesting tactics at Columbia University in New York, and the school threatening expulsions. Here's Derek Dennis.
Colombia taking a stand against pro-Palestinian protesters who set up an encampment and have occupied a building. A statement from the Ivy League school reads, the protesters have chosen to escalate the situation through their actions. Students occupying the building face expulsion. Students who did not commit to the terms we offered are now being suspended. This is about responding to the actions of the protesters, not their cause. The demonstrations are over the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East, and protester demands that the university divest itself from Israel.
Right now in the volunteer state, Tennessee could be made one of the few states in the nation that would make it a felony to assist minors with out-of-state abortions. House Bill 1895, Senate Bill 1971 would make it a felony for adults who help pregnant minors get an out-of-state abortion without a parent's consent. The ACLU sent a letter to Governor Lee asking him to veto the proposed legislation, calling it a, quote, unprecedented attack on the First Amendment's right to free speech and expression. The law would charge an adult with a Class C felony who recruits, harbors, or transports a minor out of state for an abortion or for obtaining medication for an abortion. This does not apply to parents or legal guardians. And some new data out from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention shows troubling news for rural Americans, finding they're more likely to die early from one of the 5 leading causes of death than those who live in urban areas. Brittany Shepard with details.
The CDC now says those who live in rural areas are more likely to die from a slew of issues before age 80 compared to their urban counterparts. Ailments including heart disease, cancer, and stroke. What's the cause? Previous research points to scant access to special and emergency care and lower likelihoods of health insurance. But the CDC hopes to tackle these challenges head on, vowing to improve rural health by offering more at the community level, like upping cancer screens and promoting active lifestyles.
Some Donald Trump news. Former president has been slapped with a $9,000 fine. The judge in the New York City hush money trial says Trump violated the gag order 9 times and even threatens to put Trump in jail if it keeps happening. And back here in Music City, more animals at the Nashville Zoo. Red River hogs, 3 girls and a boy, successfully delivered on April 11th. They're the first of their species to be born at the zoo. The piglets, Fig, Peach, Persimmon, and Clementine are reportedly doing well, including their mother, Truffles. Zookeepers said the newest addition to the zoo will continue to live behind the scene until they're big enough to move outside for public viewing. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It's 7 minutes past the hour of 4 o'clock. Hey, everybody. Glad that you're with us here on Super Talk 99.7 for hour number 2 of The Drive. This Tuesday, April 30th. Listen, it's a busy news day. There is a lot going on here, so buckle up. Hang around while you're trying to get home. I'm going to try to tell you some stuff that'll make you well informed about what's going on in the world around you. The protests have really started to spin out of control. The one that's getting the most attention, of course, because it's in New York and, you know, all the major networks don't have to work very hard to cover a story that's right in your own backyard. They're actually covering this thing at Columbia University where the students have now taken over a building. It's called Hamilton Hall. They broke in overnight. They literally broke and entered, burglarized to get into this building. They broke out a window, unlocked the door, and then went inside and have taken over the building and now have barricaded the doors with heavy, I don't know, I'd call it metal lawn furniture of some kind to make sure that the people can't get in, and they say they're going to stay there. This is out of control. This is first of all a violation of the law. It's breaking and entering. It's basically a crime. They are holding, for a while it seemed like they may be even holding people in the building from getting out. I don't know that that's still the case, but I'm telling you, they are being defiant of the administration, refusing to leave. The administration says if you don't leave, you're going to be expelled. I don't think they give a rat's patootie because I don't think many of the people that are in that building are actually students. I think that a lot of these are outside agitators. There may be a handful of students. I'm not saying that there are no students there. But I think the vast majority of all this is coming from outside agitators, and I think that they are not, by and large, students. I think there's some evidence to suggest that may be the case. From the Wall Street Journal, an autonomous group of students has taken matters into their own hands. They will remain in Hamilton Hall until the university divests from a student group from death. That's right. That was their statement. An autonomous group has taken matters into their own hands. They will remain in Hamilton Hall until the university divests from death. They want them to divest from any investment in Israel. That post and other videos taken by students on the scene showed protesters hauling items, including metal tables, to barricade the door of Hamilton Hall, where the dean of Columbia College has an office. One video showed the crowd shouting, "The people united will never be defeated." In an email statement, Columbia University Apartheid Divest, one of the groups, warned university administrators against calling the New York Police Department. Do not incite another Kent or Jackson state by bringing officers and soldiers and policemen with weapons to our campus, the group said, referencing deadly shootings amid campus unrest in the universities in the 70s. Students' blood will be on your hands, suggesting that they think that this is going to get nasty before it's all over. By the way, the New York Police Department Deputy Commissioner of Operations is a guy by the name of Kaz Daughtry, said police can't go onto Columbia's grounds without the university's permission. If they request us to go to campus to address illegal behavior, or if there is an imminent threat of physical injury, we will do so. When they start talking about student bloods will be on your hands, I think that qualifies for an imminent threat of potential physical injury. Protesters earlier said that unless Columbia meets their demands, they had no intentions of disbanding. And it's not just Columbia. This is happening at universities are following suit all over the country. In some places, like in Texas yesterday, they brought in the state patrol, they brought in the SWAT teams, they brought in a lot of police, and they outnumbered the protesters, and they took a lot of them into custody, and they were charged with violating the law. In the midst of all this, Columbia University has suspended press access on campus. Media access to campus is suspended. And so you're cracking down on the reporters, you're cracking down on the people who are there to cover it and let us know what's going on there, but you're not willing to do anything about it. This is wrong. You don't go after the press. You go after the people that are causing the problem. The university revealed, as I told you, that a group of protesters have occupied Hamilton Hall. I don't really know if you need reporters because the people who are taking over posted all the videos of the things they're doing. They're proud of themselves. Very, very proud of themselves. From FoxNews.com, universities across the U.S. are cracking down on anti-Israel protesters who have taken over their campuses. The protesters demand that colleges divest themselves from companies connected to Israel. This week has seen dozens of arrests at Columbia, Harvard, Yale, University of Texas, other places. The university has requested that protesters remove the encampment, for example, and some places, and they just ignore. So, look, every threat that's been made by the Columbia administration has been ignored, and they just amp it up. The protesters should continue to amp it up and amp it up and amp it up until they're forcing the hand. At some point, this thing will spiral so far out of control that they have no other course of action except to bring in the police and if need be, use tear gas and other matters to get these things dispersed. It's ridiculous that this has gone this far. Today, the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, who was, by the way, at Columbia on, I think it was last Wednesday, held a press conference on Capitol Hill to talk about the craziness of all this.
We're told that NYPD is outside the perimeter of the campus, but they have not been invited in, and they won't go until they are invited. What are university officials waiting on? What do they need to see before they stand up to these terrorist sympathizers? And that is exactly what they are. What's worse, though, is that Columbia's choice to ignore the safety of their Jewish students and appease anti-Semites has inspired even more hate-filled protests to pop up across the country. And what we're seeing right now is people wave Hezbollah flags and Hamas flags, their homemade signs supporting what happened on October 7th. It's outrageous. Hamas endorsed the protest at Columbia University just about 2 hours before we walked out on the steps to have our press event on Wednesday. They're proudly chanting things like death to America and profanity and hate-filled slogans. And this is utterly despicable, and it cannot be accepted in this country. Anti-Semitism is a virus. And because the administration and woke university presidents aren't stepping in, we're seeing it spread. We have to act. And House Republicans will speak to this fateful moment with moral clarity. We really wish those in the White House would do the same.
Here's Elise Stefanik, Representative Stefanik, at the same press conference.
It is clear that Jewish families across this country, Americans across this country, are looking for moral clarity, and we are going to deliver where these higher education institutions have failed. As the Speaker said last night at Columbia, America watched in disgust as President Shafiq allowed an anti-Semitic pro-terrorist mob to storm and seize an academic building, holding faculty inside, flying pro-Hamas signs, and damaging property. Joe Biden, far-left Democrat governors like my home state in New York, and morally bankrupt university leaders have allowed this moral rot of anti-Semitism to fester, refusing to enforce the laws and refusing to ensure the safety of Jewish students. And it's not just Columbia. This is a moral rot that has taken root across American higher education institutions. At Yale University, a Jewish student was stabbed in the eye with a Palestinian flag. At the University of Southern California, graduation was canceled due to the university being unable to guarantee the safety of students. Jewish students were barricaded at the library at Cooper Union. At my alma mater, Harvard University, a Palestinian flag was hoisted at University Hall where the American flag always flies, in clear violation of university policies. There are dozens of these anti-Semitic encampments across the country. These mobs are breaking university rules, leading to the targeting and harassment of Jewish students and faculty.
Well, I'm telling you, Speaker Johnson and Lee Stefanik there have it right. This is nothing more than blatant anti-Semitism. And I cannot believe that these universities are allowing it to happen. What is going on in our country where we will allow people to hold protests, basically to say that you should take all the people who will live in Israel and remove them from the ocean to the river to the sea, from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea. No. This is not exactly what we need to be doing. We need to be standing up against these people. We should not tolerate anti-Semitism at all in our institutions of higher learning or anywhere else for that matter. President Trump is attending his trial, of course, but he stopped by the cameras to talk about these protests and how he thinks the Biden administration needs to do something about it.
The Biden protests that are going on are horrible. It's all caused by him because he doesn't know how to speak. He can't put two sentences together. He's got to get out and make a statement because the colleges are being overrun in this country. The anti-Semitism, all of the problems going on, they're being overrun. I'll never say anything like it. He said he ran because of Charlottesville. And Charlottesville is peanuts compared to what you're looking at now. This whole country is up in arms, breaking into colleges, knocking the hell out of Columbia University. I mean, they took over. I know the building very well. They took over a building. That is a big deal. And I wonder if what's going to happen to them will be anything comparable to what happened to J6. Because they're doing a lot of destruction, a lot of damages, a lot of people getting hurt very badly. I wonder if that's going to be the same kind of treatment they gave J6. Let's see how that all works out. I think I can give you the answer right now. And that's why people have lost faith in our court system. So the Biden protests are a disaster, and he hasn't even made a statement because he's not capable of making a statement. I'm still waiting for him to debate. He said on the very lowly rated Howard Stern show, he said very strongly, I want to debate. Well, we haven't seen it. But we would love to debate any time, and I think it's a good time to have a debate, even though it's early. But 6 months is pretty close. November 5th is going to go down as the most important day in the history of our country because we're going to turn our country around. Our country is going to hell. It's going to hell. It's very sad to see. But November 5th is going to be the most important day in the history of our country.
There was the president as he spoke just outside the echoey hallway where his trial is underway. Listen, I got to tell you, there is really shocking to me. It's really shocking that this administration won't condemn the actions. And why is that? Well, because they're afraid that they're going to drive young people away. Young people apparently have fallen into this weird thought that somehow the attacks of October 7th were not important, that somehow that the Israelis had it coming, and it's Israel that is the bad actor in the region and not the Hamas and the Palestinian controlled areas. I'm thinking it's not working out for them. And I'm thinking that, today we saw a little bit of reaction from the White House where they condemn anti-Semitism, but don't really go on to condemn the protests. You know why? Because there are some new numbers out in the last few days that suggest that the American people, this may have been the straw that broke the camel's back with a lot of American voters. Because all of a sudden, out of nowhere, after the numbers have been tightening and tightening and tightening in the presidential race, big numbers for Trump. I think the two things are related, and someone else who's a very respected Democrat pollster believes the same thing. We'll bring that in our 2020 report right after we take this break. 20 minutes past the hour now of 4 o'clock. If you've lived in this area for a long time, you've known about Eurofix. They've been in Middle Tennessee, the place to go for your European car repair for 24 years, almost a quarter century. And we've watched them grow over time. I don't know about you, but I really love watching a hometown business take off. Well, the folks at Eurofix are proud to announce a 5th location of Eurofix, this one in Mount Juliet, on Mount Juliet Road, right across the street from the Dairy Queen. Eurofix can serve you in Franklin, 100 Oaks, Murfreesboro, Belmead, and now their newest facility, a lovely facility in Mount Juliet. It's pretty cool getting to watch a small-town mechanic who started in a barn in the backyard of his single-wide trailer grow to 5 locations repairing thousands of cars each month. At Eurofix, you get a 3-year nationwide warranty, a free loaner car with every repair. So why don't you call to set up your appointment? 844-EUROFIX. That's 844-EUROFIX, or visit myEurofix.com.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Democrats helping out House Speaker Mike Johnson keep his job. Plus, money news. We find out what's going on today at Wall Street. 4:30 Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
Let's do the 2024 update related to the other story we we're just talking about with regard to all of these campus protests around the country. Is it having an impact on the presidential race? There's some indication that maybe that is the case. I mean, we've got some new numbers out, and I want to go through them very quickly because I think they prove a larger point, okay? Yesterday, we told you about CNN numbers that were just through the roof for Trump in the battleground states, and the general election numbers were just huge. I think they had Trump leading by 9 points in the five-way matchup. Well, this new round of polling comes from Emerson. These are the five-way numbers, and these are really related to the battleground states. In the state of Arizona, they say that Trump leads by 4. In the state of Georgia, they say Trump leads by 6. In Michigan, which is a pretty tight state, they say that Trump leads by 1. In Nevada, they say he leads by 5. In North Carolina, we're going to have to stop calling this a battleground state. Trump leads by 9, according to this poll. That's very similar to other polls that came out just the other day. Pennsylvania, Trump leads by 4. In Wisconsin, he leads by 5. In all 7 of the battleground states, Trump is leading, the closest one being the race in Michigan. So, I mean, those numbers are starting to, again, move in the direction of Trump. The general election numbers yesterday and a couple of the days before all seem to show that there's some movement out there and that the race is widening in favor of Trump. And Democrat pollster Mark Penn, who I like Mark Penn. I mean, he's a Democrat pollster. He'll be first to tell you that. but he always tells you what the numbers show. He doesn't try to pull any punches or spin you in any way. And he thinks that these widening numbers are related to how the Biden administration has been handling the campus protests.
Most Americans look at these protests, they don't see any American flags there. They see quite the opposite, that they seem to be anti-American, anti-Israel, some of them even pro-Hamas, and it's really backfiring. There's been no change in American support for Israel and for getting the hostages out and for getting Hamas out of Gaza. And that has not changed, even though these things have gone on. But the more Joe Biden caters to the base of the party and to these demonstrators, his rating on this issue goes down, not up. I think he's made a major miscalculation there. The swing voters are looking for world leadership, and that means standing up to terrorists. That means hanging tough. That means solving some of these problems in the Mideast, and they don't see that yet. Now, look, a lot can happen, but that is not what the American voters are seeing today, and you're seeing these polls that we're closing going the other way now and widening. And let me just make one last point. The biggest reason they're widening is that Joe Biden has a 44% job approval, and Donald Trump, when asked about his presidency, has a 55% job approval. Joe Biden has to close that gap, or it's going to be a tough race.
He's speaking, of course, as a Democrat. I look at that and I say, well, okay, Joe, go ahead and just support those protesters all you possibly can. He's been unwilling to come out with harsh language, and he won't make a statement at all. If he does, if anything comes out of the White House, it doesn't come from the president. It comes from some of his spokespeople, because they don't want him having to say these things, because he's afraid he'll drive away young voters, which are leaving the Democrat Party in droves. Now, where they're going to land, I don't know, but they are increasingly talking as if they cannot, under any circumstance, vote for Biden. Again, these things have changed sort of the nature of where things. It was tightening, and now all of a sudden we've seen poll after poll after poll after poll, about 4 or 5 polls that have come out that show that something is going on. And I think it has to do that Americans are looking at the Biden administration as being ineffective in trying to stop these protests, being unwilling to condemn these protests in the harshest words, and that they have abandoned Israel in favor of these young people who are basically nothing more than thugs who are taking over the college campuses. The parents don't like it. Americans by large don't like it. And I think it is starting to have an impact. So, again, when you see world events, they can change the numbers. I believe a pretty good case can be made that they are changing the numbers right now in the direction of Trump and away from Biden. These battleground poll numbers are pretty strong. Pretty strong. Now, this story from Fox News, it's an opinion piece, but I think the writer of this opinion piece has it right. It looks as if the Biden administration may be beginning to panic a little bit. I don't think it's the president, because I think he's clueless. I think he thinks he's doing a great job. I think they feed him the positive numbers. They don't show him the negative numbers. And I think he thinks everything's just fine out on the campaign trail. But it's not. And I think a lot of people in the Biden administration are now starting to fret that, we may not get a second term. We may not get a second term. We better start shoving stuff into the pipeline, because if we don't get it into the pipeline now and all taken care of, then, we're not going to have the opportunity, because there may not be a second Biden administration, God willing. Here are some of the things that they've done recently. It's all Green New Deal, very liberal stuff. I tell you what, I'll pick this up on the other side, because I don't want to shortchange this. There are about a dozen things that they've done to try to shove it into the pipeline in a hurry. But first, let's do the news. It's 31 past the hour now on Super Talk.
Now 32 minutes after the hour of 4 o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 78 degrees here in Music City. Forecast, traffic report just ahead, 5 minutes. House Speaker Mike Johnson's job will remain safe for now, thanks to Democrats who say they'll vote to block Georgia Republican Marjorie Taylor Greene's efforts to oust him. Here's Stephen Portnoy.
Top Democrats now say they'll vote to table a vacate motion from Marjorie Taylor Greene.
She is a legislative arsonist.
Conference Chair Pete Aguilar says it's time to turn the page from what he and fellow Democratic leaders call pro-Putin Republican obstruction. Greene says she'll call the vote anyway to put members on the record. Speaking for himself, Speaker Mike Johnson says he hasn't asked the Democrats for help or made any promises.
No, there's no deals at all.
And now over to our money news. Daria Albinger fills us in on Wall Street.
Stocks snapped a 2-day winning streak. The Dow fell 570 points, the S&P gave up 80, and the Nasdaq closed down 325. Amazon reported earnings just after the close that beat analysts' expectations. Investors are a little jittery with the Federal Reserve's Open Markets Committee gathering for its latest meeting. It's expected to leave a key interest rate alone, despite indicating just a few months ago it was planning to cut interest rates at least once in 2024. The Fed will no doubt pay close attention to the latest employment cost index. It shows pay and benefits for American workers grew faster in the first 3 months of the year, up 0.9% from the previous quarter. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says automatic braking must come standard on all new U.S. passenger vehicles in the next 5 years. The government says the requirement could save hundreds of lives.
And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
The Guaranteed Offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
You know, you talk about United Structural Systems, and you know if you got a foundation issue, cracks in the bricks or windows and doors that stick, you know all the signs, cracks in the walls. You may have a foundation issue, but you know what? Think about waterproofing as well. Because if you see certain things around your house, you may have a waterproofing issue, and they can help. Standing water in crawl space, you got a problem. Wet basement walls, not good. Musty odors or floor joists with wood rot, you need help. Cracks in basement floors, hardwood floors that are cupping because of the moisture underneath. These are all signs your house is trying to tell you something. You may have a waterproofing issue, and the folks at USS, been around since 1994, more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers. They can help. That's right. Just give them a call at this number, 615-488-7855. They'll come out. They'll give you their best advice, and they will tell you what they can do. If you decide to go forward, you won't pay a penny until the job is done, and you are completely, absolutely, 100% satisfied. They guarantee their best at USS, serving Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, Western Kentucky, online at USSTN.com. Again, that number, 615-488-7855.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
The more Joe Biden caters to the base of the party and to these demonstrators, his rating on this issue goes down, not up.
That's Mark Penn, noted Democrat pollster, saying that the whole protest thing is not working to Joe Biden's his favor because he's not been willing to condemn the protest. And I think the latest polls all show something is happening. The gap is getting wider. Trump is starting to gain momentum, and it's going away from the Biden administration and the Biden reelection effort. And I think it has to do with these protests. I think that Democrats are so pessimistic right now that they're deciding that, well, we better get some things done while we still got the reins of power here, because there's no guarantee we're going to be back. And I think that would, they're probably right about that. But what they're doing now is they're throwing everything they can into the pipeline. Let me go through. I got 12 different things that they've done recently, suggesting that they're trying to get it all across the goal line before perhaps Donald Trump gets elected. Number one, a new FTC rule that bans non-compete agreements. Very controversial in the business world, but there are a lot of people out there who would like that. A rewrite of Title IX, we've been talking about that. They have basically completely taken a 37-word document that was Title IX and turned it into a 1,500-page document, and the idea is that now they're going to codify through this rewrite of Title IX that men who identify as women can play against women on the field of athletic play and share gymnasiums and share locker rooms and share bathrooms. That's all been written into the rewrite of Title IX. And by the way, as we told you earlier, being challenged by many states, including the state of Tennessee, where the Attorney General Jonathan Skrmetti has announced that he will fight that. Number three, EEOC charges of racism against a company because they avoided hiring criminals. Number four, they are trying to buy as many votes as they possibly can by paying off student loans. Number five, FTC preventing the merger of two luxury good makers. Number six, new overtime rules. Number seven, new regulations detailing airline refunds. That just came across. Number 8, new decisions restricting drilling in Alaska's National Petroleum Reserve. Number 9, FTC blocking hospital group mergers. Number 10, new power plant emission rules. That's all Green New Deal stuff that will cause many power plants to shut down at a time when they say we need more electricity because they want you to drive electric cars. Number 11, they have put a hold on a pending ban against menthol cigarettes because they realize that generally menthol cigarettes, by and large, not always exclusively, but are used by black people who smoke. They use menthol cigarettes to a large degree, and the administration didn't want to offend black voters. And number 12, a revamp of school lunch mandates, reducing sugar and salt. They're going to find so many of these, Green New Deal, leftist policies that they want to shove into the pipeline because I think a few of them are beginning to wonder if they're going to get a crack at a second term. Again, I told you that Trump is leading Biden in all 7 swing states, according to this poll in Emerson. I won't go over that again. And here's this. Republicans, according to Fox News, are significantly more enthusiastic about the 2024 election rematch between President Biden and former President Donald Trump than are either Democrat or independent voters. Survey released Monday by the Monmouth University Polling Institute spotlights that enthusiasm among all registered voters remains well under 50%, but has jumped 12 points over the past year to 39%. Enthusiasm for a 2020 rematch has increased slightly now that these two candidates are the presumptive nominees. But most voters are not looking forward to November. 63% of Republicans questioned said that they were very or somewhat enthusiastic about the second straight face-off between the Democrat incumbent in the White House and his GOP predecessor. That figure plunges to 36% among Democrats surveyed and down to 27% among independents. The poll is the latest national survey to point to a close contest between Biden and Trump. 44% said they will definitely or probably support Trump, and with 43% saying the same thing about Biden. 49% offered that they would definitely not vote for the president, with 48% saying the same thing about the presumptive GOP presidential nominee. The bottom line here is that Republicans are more enthusiastic. That relates to turnout. We need that edge because the Democrats are very good at getting people to turn out. Some of them are not even alive, and they still turn out. Just saying. What about RFK pulling in some polls 16% now in a lot of these states? And some people look at it and say, well, RFK Jr. hurts Biden more than he hurts Trump. But now both campaigns are sort of decided that having him there may cause him problems. I think I've seen a number out of Michigan where Trump really needs to win. He really needs to win Michigan, where RFK actually hurts Trump. And that may be why all of a sudden the Trump campaign is not all too thrilled about having this third-party candidate in the race. According to the most recent NBC News poll, Donald Trump's support is more eroded by the third-party vote than by President Joe Biden. But I've seen other polls that suggest otherwise. But I think now their feeling is both sides to come after RFK. Don't be surprised to see Trump and Biden going after RFK Jr. The big rap against Biden is that he's old, that he's losing a step, that he's not mentally competent, that he's got dementia, and honestly, he's just a figurehead. The White House is being run, I think, and I think you will agree, by staff, and they put him out there as much as they can, but every time he goes out there, he says something stupid they have to correct. White House communication staff has had to correct President Joe Biden's public remarks at least 148 times since the beginning of 2024, since the beginning of this year, and it's only April 30th. A review of official White House transcripts has shown 148 times in 4 months. The White House releases an official transcript anytime the president gives a speech or take questions. Communication staff frequently correct, add to, or alter Biden's official remarks in order to bring them into compliance with official White House policy, or in some cases, reality, a Daily Caller analysis has shown. In several cases, official statements had to be changed to convey the exact opposite of what Biden actually said. Through 118 statements, speeches, and chats with reporters spanning from January 1st to April 24th, the White House has officially updated its transcript with corrections to what the president said out loud at least 148 times. Some of the modifications include corrections to names, dates, and titles of organizations. Others change verbs and modify the meaning of the president's statement entirely. Words that the president didn't say but should have, according to the White House staff, have also been added to the transcripts. And then there, through My American Rescue Plan, he calls it the American Rescue Plan, which every Republican voted against. He said every American voted against it. I mean, it's a perfect example. He makes misstatements all the time. At an event last week, Biden seemingly read the word pause off the teleprompter, but the original White House transcript of the president's remark did not include the word pause because it was not part of what he was supposed to say. He was supposed to pause. You know why? Because they had already agreed that when he said this one line, that the audience, which was, of course, very supportive of him, was going to go, 4 more years, 4 more years. So he read the word pause and then said the words 4 more years. You know, even when they try to prop him up, he messes it up. Anyway, long story short, how embarrassing is it that the president of the United States has had to be corrected by his own staff in the course of 4 months 148 different times?
Come on, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's right. You know what? You know, he probably over there saying right now, you know, to me,
Hush up, boy.
Hush up, boy. Quit talking like that. And then finally, Kamala Harris argues that people are still getting used to having a first woman VP. Said they love to talk whenever they can about my laugh. She was on the Drew Barrymore show and spoke about you know, how important it is to not let anybody take away your power. But she said, you know, the people don't like the way I laugh. There you go. They'll show me little things that amuse me, like apparently people love to talk about the way I laugh. She said, and I quote, I have my mother's laugh, and I grew up around a bunch of women in particular who laughed from the belly. They laughed. They would sit around the kitchen drinking their coffee, telling big stories with big laughs. She said she would never be the person to tone it down. And then she laughed. Oh, man. It is 50 minutes now past the hour of 4 o'clock. Folks, the chairman of the Federal Reserve has said that we're on an unsustainable fiscal path, that they aren't going to pay off the $34 trillion debt anytime soon, and they'll just print money to pay the interest on the debt and thus weaken the dollar. You know, that's what they'll do. So maybe you want to save with gold and other precious metals. Maybe you feel like you don't have the knowledge to make a smart decision in that regard. Well, that's the way I felt, but I got the professional guidance I needed at Nashville Gold and Coin. The way this works is you make an appointment, then you sit down one-on-one with my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin. They answer all your questions and help you make the precious metals investment that is right for you. It's friendly, you'll learn a lot, and you'll never be subjected to a high-pressure sales pitch. You see, gold and silver can be a safe haven in uncertain economic times, and my friends at Nashville Gold and Coin are standing by to answer all of your questions about the precious metals market. If you have some old coins laying around gathering dust, bring them along. You might be surprised just how much they are worth. I know I was. So to set up your one-on-one appointment, just go to NashvilleGoldandCoin.com. That's NashvilleGoldandCoin.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
More testimony from the Donald Trump hush money trial. Children almost hit while getting off of their school bus. Marijuana getting reclassified, and a mailman on the loose in Franklin. Well, a man who was stealing mail is on the loose in Franklin. Those stories coming up at 5. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Well, and we're going to be talking about that marijuana rule change out of Washington. Does it make us one step closer to the legalization or normalization of marijuana in America today? Also, from the swamp, it looks like Speaker Johnson is safe for now, but guess who had to come to his rescue? We'll have all of those stories coming up in the next hour right here on The Drive.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Five o'clock, I'm Mac Morey with your top story. 78 degrees, mostly sunny here on Music Row. Traffic, that complete weather forecast, 5 minutes away. More testimony today from the Donald Trump hush money trial. Here's Derek Dennis.
On the stand most of the afternoon, prosecution witness Keith Davidson, the lawyer who represented both Karen McDougal and porn actress Stormy Daniels and brokered payments to both. Earlier today, Trump was hit with $9,000 in fines for social media posts found to be in violation of a gag order in the case. ABC News confirms Trump and his legal team have removed all of the posts in question hours after the judge warned Trump he would be locked up if he continues to willfully violate the gag order. Trump's legal team may have their work cut out for them, though.
Obviously not something he wants, and clearly one of the things that's going to happen in conference here, besides the fact that Donald Trump will explode quite literally behind the scenes, they are going to have to coach him. You got to rein this in immediately.
ABC's John Santucci. No court on Wednesday. Trump slated to campaign in Wisconsin and Michigan.
Back here in Tennessee right now, 59-year-old Kenneth Wilson was arrested after leading police on a chase before nearly hitting children getting off of a school bus. Officials observed Wilson driving recklessly before attempting to stop him when he parked at Shelby Park. He instead got back in the car and then hit law enforcement vehicles to escape that parking space. Wilson drove through a spike strip, kept going until stopping, and was taken into custody. He's jailed on an $80,000 bond. And in a major move, the Drug Enforcement Administration planning to recommend reclassifying marijuana as a less dangerous drug. Sources say the Department of Justice today will send its recommendation to the White House Office of Management and Budget, which will then review it. Karen Travers has the latest.
While a historic shift, this change in classification for marijuana as a less dangerous drug is not yet finalized. And even if approved, it would not legalize marijuana outright. Still, this could have sweeping ramifications for how the federal government treats the drug. Since President Biden asked the Justice Department and the Department of Health and Human Services to review the classification back in October 2022, he has pardoned thousands of people convicted for federal offenses of simple marijuana possession.
And back in the volunteer state crime story, Franklin police searching for a man who allegedly stole people's mail by breaking into an apartment. Surveillance video from 2 doorbell cameras showed a man unknown to the apartment complex staff carrying packages throughout a hallway. Officials think he came in through a patio door either the 25th or 26th of April. A cash reward of $1,000 is being offered for information that leads to an arrest. That is the latest news. Traffic and weather on the way. I'm Mac Morey, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is 6 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. Hour number 3 of the drive now beginning. We got a lot of ground to cover here today. A busy, busy news day. We got protests that are out of control and students who have taken over administration buildings at Columbia University. We've got really amazing numbers from the from the 2024 election. But I think we'll head to the swamp now for a little bit of this. You know, the swamp. I spent 31 godforsaken years in that place. I'm so glad that I'm no longer there. But because I spent time covering most of those buildings in the Washington, D.C. area, I think I can help you translate what swampese is coming from there so that you can understand it. That's my goal each time we do a swamp report. There's a big decision coming from, of all places in the swamp, the Drug Enforcement Administration. This story from the Associated Press. The U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration will move to reclassify marijuana as a less dangerous drug. The Associated Press has learned a historic shift to generations of American drug policy that could have wide ripple effects across the country. The DEA's proposal, which must still be reviewed by the White House Office of Management and Budget, would recognize the medical uses of cannabis and acknowledge it has less potential for abuse than some of the nation's more dangerous drugs. However, it would not legalize marijuana outright for recreational use. I think it's a step in that direction, but it won't actually do that. The agency's move, confirmed to the AP on Tuesday by 5 people familiar with the matter who spoke on the condition of anonymity to discuss the sensitive regulatory review, clears the last significant regulatory hurdle before the agency's biggest policy change in 50 years can take effect. Once OMB signs off on it, and they will, the DEA will take public comment on the plan to move marijuana from its current classification of a Schedule I drug along heroin and LSD. It moves pot to Schedule III alongside ketamine and some anabolic steroids following a recommendation from the Federal Health and Human Services Department. And after public comment period, the agency would publish the final rule. It comes after President Joe Biden called for a review of federal marijuana law in October of 2022 and has moved to pardon thousands of Americans convicted federally of simple possession of the drug. He also called on governors and local leaders to take similar steps to ease marijuana convictions. Criminal records for marijuana use and possession have imposed needless barriers to employment, housing, and educational opportunities, Biden said in December. Too many lives have been upended because of our failed approach to marijuana. It is time that we right these wrongs. The election year announcement could help Biden, a Democrat, boost flagging support, particularly among younger voters. Now, Schedule III drugs are still controlled substances and subject to rules and regulations, and people who traffic in them without permission could still face federal criminal prosecution. But it is I would say, a step in the direction of making marijuana, at least medical marijuana, something that can be considered in the United States. It could never be considered as long as it was a Schedule I drug. Now, at least, it could go forward and be considered as a potential for its potential medical uses in the control of pain and other things. So, it's really weird about half the states. Chris, we run this check ever so often. About half the states in America have some form of marijuana legalization, either medical marijuana or full out recreational use of marijuana. I don't know that I like this idea, but I think it's a train that's leaving the station, and I don't think there's much you can do to stop it. And I will say that my own personal belief about this has changed somewhat. I was adamantly against marijuana. I've never tried marijuana on any level. I don't care to. I don't need it. But a lot of people, differ with me about. They say, well, it's no worse than drinking. I say, number one, that especially in the smoking, where you smoke it rather than do a gummy or whatever it is they do, it's really no worse than just drinking. But I think that ingesting smoke is not good for your health. So I think that's not good. But I do believe the people who say that THC, which is the element in marijuana, which gives you that high, can be used in a significant way to ease pain and may have some medical benefits for people who are in extreme pain, cancer patients, etc. And I say my opinion has changed on this is because, as you know, I've said before that last year I went through a bad case of shingles. I mean, a bad case of shingles. And I'm still, even to this day, you may notice if you watch on TV that I still rub my neck and my shoulder. It's because it still hurts. Shingles is a bad thing. But when I had it at its worst last year, I couldn't sleep. And somebody said, try the CBD gummies. Try that. So it's not marijuana. It comes from a different, I guess it's not cannabis, but hemp, right? I believe that's correct. I'm looking at you, Chris, and I'm looking for...
Why are you looking at me? I don't know. I'm not sure if it's all derived from the same plant. It's just a matter of how they come about removing certain chemicals from it. I don't know.
But the CBD is legal in the state of Tennessee.
That's correct, yes.
That's where you can get it at gas stations. I mean, for goodness sakes. Somebody said, really just try it and see if it helps you at all. And I got to tell you, it got me to the point where I could at least go to sleep. And I mean, it really, when you're going through things that involve pain, they'll give you some pain medicine for a few days, but they don't like to renew it. And they don't, and I'm serious, I guess the opioid crisis has changed the ways doctors now prescribe pain medicine, and they don't like to do it. They just don't want to do it. And so if you're really suffering, if you're really in pain, and I'm telling you, the pain of shingles is not an easy thing to endure. So I did. I took some of these CBD things. Now, they're legal. To my understanding, it is not based from marijuana, but I could be wrong. One way or the other, I could sleep. And it was so desperately welcome at that time because I went days without sleep. And that was the thing that changed it for me. So when I got through the worst of shingles, I haven't taken one since, but I could now see what people were talking about potentially in situations where you had intense pain. So I don't like the idea of legalizing marijuana, but it seems like that this is going to happen. I think it's just a matter of time. In the state of Tennessee, it has never been able to get past the state legislature in any way. So we'll watch to see what happens in Tennessee, but that is happening in the swamp now. All right, so another story from the Washington Post. Drug Enforcement Administration will move to loosen restrictions on marijuana in what would be a historic shift in federal drug policy, according to people familiar with the matter. If enacted, it does not instantly legalize marijuana at the federal level, but couldn't broaden access to the drug for medical use and boost cannabis industries in states where it is legal. Biden administration plans to reclassify marijuana, allowing prescriptions. This is a piece in the Tennessean which draws from many different sources. The plan wouldn't legalize marijuana at the federal level outright, but would reclassify it from a Schedule I drug to a Schedule III drug that can be lawfully prescribed as a medication. Marijuana has been a Schedule I drug since the Controlled Substances Act was signed into law in 1970. That's how long it's been on the books. Okay, also from the swamp today, I just want to make a mention of the fact that we have a situation with the Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. MTG wanted to launch an MTV, which is a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair. And if that vote had been taken and there wasn't a plan to rescue the Speaker, he would be out because you'd only need we only have a Republican margin of one, I think, right now in the House of Representatives. It's one or two. So if you get 2 or 3 or 4 people who just don't like the Speaker for whatever reason, are irritated with him for this or that, then he could be kicked out of office. However, the new development here is Johnson is safe. Johnson is safe because House Democrats said that they would step in and vote for him if it came to a motion to vacate the Speaker's chair. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, Minority Whip Catherine Clark, Caucus Pair Chief Aguilar declared that Democrats were ready to turn the page of this chapter on pro-Putin Republican obstruction. That's how they put it. We will vote to table Representative Marjorie Greene motion to vacate the chair. If she invokes the motion, it will not succeed. Johnson said in a press conference afterwards he was caught off guard by the announcement and had not discussed the move with Jeffries or made any side deals on future legislation. I wonder if he made a side deal about past legislation, though. Look, I don't think it's the right thing to do. I think Marjorie Taylor Greene, I don't understand what's motivating this. She may be irritated with the speaker, but bigger fish to fry, not the right time. Not at a time when things are starting to look pretty good for Republicans and conservatives in the national polls. Why would you want to take on another one of these divisive battles for the speaker? By the way, if you kick Johnson out, I don't know that anybody would run for the office. Nobody would want to do it. Why would you? Because if you irritate one or two people, you're out again. And we go through the whole rigmarole another time. So, I don't think it's the time for it. I think let's get through this term of Congress, this session of Congress. The elections will be held in November. If we still hold on to the House, and I don't know that we will, then I would say, let's make it have the battle take place then. Johnson, maybe he would get reelected, maybe he wouldn't. But first of all, we have to win back the House, and I'm telling you, it's close. So not the right time. The thing is, though, if the Democrats do have to stand up and protect Johnson, then, he's going to be always subject. Well, you know what? He wouldn't be the speaker if it weren't that the Democrats didn't love him. And how effective can you be as the Republican leader in the House of Representatives if the Speaker of the House only holds his job because the opposite party rushed in to support him? I don't know. It looks like this whole matter is dead for now, but I do think that it's a shame that we have to go through this because a couple of people get their nose out of joint. You may not agree with the speaker, but, honestly, at some point, somebody's going to make decisions. If you disagree with those decisions, then let's wait until after the elections, and then we can decide whether or not somebody else should be the Speaker of the House. But this whole idea of the motion to vacate because one or two or three people get their noses out of joint, I don't think there's any way to run the Republican caucus in the House of Representatives. I think it's a bad policy. But it looks like, for now, the bottom line, Mike Johnson will not be leaving that job. 20 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Protests still going on around the nation. We'll take a look at what's happening at Columbia University. A fire here in Tennessee, leaving people homeless, and a bounce house. You've had those at kids' parties. Maybe if you've taken part in them. Well, this one didn't go too well. We'll tell you about it. 5:30 Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport, the thrill of victory, and the agony of defeat.
It's time for Mac Morey's wide, wild, wacky, weird world of sports. And now, without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend. You know him, you love him, you just can't live without him. Mac Morey, ladies and gentlemen. Woo!
Here we go.
I like getting into sort of the Ed McMahon mode. Here's Mac. I like that. I always wanted to have that job. It'd be great to be, like the sidekick on a like the Tonight Show or something.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Just laugh occasionally.
Yes.
Wow. That was the great thing about Eddie. He had that great laugh, and he knew when to use it.
Mm-hmm.
And he also knew when to make fun of Johnny. But anyway, let's put that aside. Let's have a conversation about something far more important. What's going on in the sports world today, Mac Morey?
So at some point this week, I want to dive into the Tennessee Titans draft because we really haven't really gotten to cover it. We talked a little bit about J.C. Latham, that round 1 pick, but since the whole draft happened Friday, Saturday, we haven't really talked about the rest of this draft and how I think there are 3 or 4 guys who could come in day one and start for this football team. We're going to get to that later on this week. Today and tomorrow, we're going to stick to the ice because right now, we've still got a team in the playoffs. The Predators are not out of this yet.
Ooh, hanging by a thread.
By a thread. They're down 3-1. We went over the last 2 losses yesterday, Brian. You and I did on Friday and on Sunday. Most recently, that Sunday devastation of a loss, a complete heartbreaker. 2 goals. Yes, 2 goals in the final 3 minutes of regulation to tie it up. And then they get the winning goal in just a minute and change into overtime. A complete choke job by the Predators, up 3-1, losing 4-3 in Game 4 to go down 3-1 in this series. Now, in the NHL, you were asking me, how difficult is this? And I was like, it's extraordinarily difficult. But I looked up, let's get some serious numbers here, right? So 32 teams, according to Hockey Reference, have come back to win after being down 3-1 or 3-0. Most of those teams were down 3-1. There are only 4 to ever come down 3-0. Most recently, the San Jose Sharks in 2015. So actually pretty recently. They came down from 3-0, which is
tough.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah. But yeah, you got 32 teams total, 3-1 or 3-0. Now, looking at other series-based sports, you got the NBA, only 13 teams ever to come back 3-1. And the MLB, I believe only 14 times has a team come back 3-1 or 3-0. So the NHL, it's the most common. You've got over 30 where you're just in the teens in the NBA and MLB. So that bodes well if you're a Preds fan. Again, we looked at the optimistic side, glass half full side here, where if you're looking at 3 of the 4 games in this series, the Preds should have won. They only got away with one of those W's, but there were 2 others that they had. Game 1, and then, of course, as we have talked over extensively most recently, Sunday's game. So
they haven't been blown out or outplayed overall in any of the games.
I agree, yeah.
No, I agree. The most staunch overplay or time where they really didn't look like they should have belonged on the ice was Friday, and even that game, it was 2-0 for the most. It ended 2-1. The Preds had the momentum the final 2 minutes of that game at Bridgestone. So really, the goal here, obviously, is somewhat insurmountable, right? Winning 3 in a row, but it will be insurmountable if you look at it as that. So the goal is you got to win 3 in a row. Well, to do that, you got to win 2 in a row. Well, to do that, you've got to win 1. Yep. 1 game at a time here. That's what the Predators have to think about.
John, way you can look at it. Right.
Win or go home type
Exactly.
thing.
Win or go home. And frankly, sometimes I even like to truncate it more than that. All right, 1 period. Okay, 1 rotation.
Absolutely.
All right, now I'm starting for these next 2 minutes. Let's play really well. And just segments, right? And you do that in your day-to-day life. Okay, I'm going to make it a day without eating sweets. Okay, now 2 days without Oreos. Okay, I've made it, all of a sudden 3 weeks.
Well, now I'm going to start crazy. That's ridiculous talk.
That's
there.
too much, Mac. Come on.
You're right. Maybe that
Nobody
was...
can do that.
That was a little too introspective. That was just me and my own battles, I guess. So, so you've got the Predators in a pickle here. But play physical, 1 game at a time, and we'll see what they can kind of do here to tonight. Now, again, it is a late puck drop whenever they're in Vancouver. Get the cup of coffee.
The game's tonight. That's right.
The game is tonight. And yes.
Should we do it one more time?
You're right. We have time, Brian. Let's get puck drop 9 o'clock tonight. The Predators need a win. And for that to happen, we need to play this, Brian.
It's time to throw that catfish down, son.
Whiskers like a cat, feeding on the bottom till he's nice and fat. He'd be mighty tasty in cornmeal fried up hot with a side of okra or anything you got. But this big old catfish won't be sitting on your plate. He's got a higher calling, he's got a nobler fate. Feeder, gonna dress him up real nice. Gonna take him down to Smashville. Gonna throw him on the ice. Throw that catfish down, son, before they drop the puck. Throw that catfish down, son, it'll bring you lots of luck. Throw that catfish down, son, it's time to start the fun. Catfish down, son, we can win another one. Bring it, Brett. Throw that catfish down, son, before they drop the puck. Throw that catfish down, son, it'll bring you lots of luck. Throw that catfish down, son. Catfish down, son, so we can win another one.
Go Preds! Time for the news at 5:30.
.531, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 78 degrees and sunny in Music City. Latest traffic report, weather forecast, 5 minutes. Now that dozens of protesters have taken over a building at New York's Columbia University, school officials threatening expulsion. The occupation of Hamilton Hall happened overnight. New York City police say officers won't enter the campus without a request from college administration or if there's an immediate emergency. Ike Ajaji is outside of Hamilton Hall where a protest is growing.
They've informed those members of the encampment that they have officially been breaking university policies and they want to restore safety and order to this university. And they're saying their actions have risen to a level that's considered untenable. The fact that they were demolishing the inside of Hamilton Hall by breaking the windows, using the wooden chairs and tables to barricade the entrances, even zip tying the door handles so no one can get in. That's the untenable situation that Columbia University is referencing. And now they're saying that they're going to expel them.
And you've got some protesters interviewing with media outside of these buildings, asking that the school let them bring in humanitarian aid such as water and food to continue the protests. A fire in Tennessee, News 2 says that at least 15 people were displaced at the Pepper Tree Apartments in Antioch from a fire. It began in Building O of the complex. No injuries reported. The cause of those flames still under investigation. Those 15 now without a home. And it's happened again, a bouncy house that blew away in the wind, and this time it was deadly. Here's Alex Stone.
In what investigators in Pinell County, Arizona are calling a tragic accident, a 2-year-old boy was killed and another child injured when a strong gust of wind sent a bounce house they were playing in flying into the air. It happened over the weekend. The 2-year-old went to a hospital where he died. The other child is recovering. It's a latest such case.
And that is the latest news, traffic, weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
39 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. You're listening to The Drive, and I am Brian Wilson, your friend and radio buddy. Let's get you home. Let's get you home safely. Let's teach you some things. Let's give you some information. Knowledge is power, and I want you to be powerful. I am very, very concerned, and have been for some time now, about what seems to be a failing in our judicial system in Davidson County. Now, look, just because I'm going to be talking about Davidson County doesn't mean that folks in Wilson County and Sumner County and Williamson County can check out, because this really does affect you. Why? Because it's about crime in Nashville. And even if you don't live in Nashville, it's our hub city. And what happens in Nashville leaks out to the other areas. What happens in Nashville, it's the place where a lot of people go to work. It's the place we go to dinner. It's the place that we go to recreate. So, we do have a vested interest in making sure that Nashville is doing what it can to be a safe city, and it's not. It's simply not. Now, it's not because police officers aren't doing their job. Police officers are doing their job. They're arresting people, and they're putting behind bars. But the moment they get behind bars, I don't know, liberal judges, I don't know what happens when it gets to prosecution, but it seems like that they're not spending enough time behind bars, and that they're let out on incredibly low bonds. Violent criminals released back into the community moments after they're arrested on negligible bonds. It's a serious problem. Chief John Drake of Metro Nashville Police Department, has been talking about this. He held a press conference yesterday to talk about the fact that he wants to see some changes made.
How do we tell mom that your baby wouldn't have been harmed if we would have done something with this person? Actually, on this side of the fence, we're tired of having those conversations. We wanted to stop. You wanted to stop. Here is more of what Chief Drake had to say yesterday in a report by Brendan Tierney of Channel 4.
Metro Police Chief John Drake says he's sounding the alarm about a trend of people out on bond committing other violent crimes. Metro Police say a 15-year-old MLK Magnet school student was almost kidnapped getting off the bus last week. It happened just days after Jamie and Taylor was released from jail on a $3,000 bond.
It's been very, very concerning.
Police say Taylor was first arrested on April 17th for making unwanted sexual advances towards a woman in this downtown parking garage. Chief Drake says Taylor's easy release from jail is nothing new. Anton Rucker, who was arrested for killing one person and injuring 5 others in the Easter brunch shooting, was out on bond at the time for multiple gun and assault charges.
The system can't make those kind of mistakes.
The district attorney's office filed motions to revoke bonds that are all set by magistrates. They say public safety is their top priority. In Taylor's case, the DA cites the increasingly serious nature of the offenses, along with committing other offenses while released.
Time to have more discussion and look at people that are really a problem for community safety to have more conversation with.
Chief Drake is also concerned about repeat offenders like Carl Jerome Hamilton, who has been charged 105 times since 2007. He says they should have been able to prevent him from raping, kidnapping, and robbing a 25-year-old Amazon delivery driver at this downtown apartment building on Friday.
I would say the system overall continues to fail people. Once we arrest them and they're back out, that's a problem.
Chief Drake says 16% of people arrested for violent crimes are rearrested while they're out on pretrial bond. He says that while he supports the right for bond, judges have to set it high enough to protect the community from dangerous people. In South Nashville, Brendan Tierney, WSMV4.
I thank Brendan Tierney, and I thank Channel 4 for that report. It's pretty comprehensive. I want to go back over this case of Carl Jerome Hamilton. Tell you, this is enough to to absolutely make you just want to chew nails. Mr. Hamilton has over 105 charges throughout his lifetime. Let's listen to this recent story. Now, this most recent arrest, the 34-year-old was charged with aggravated rape, aggravated kidnapping, and robbery. According to Metro Police, the 25-year-old victim was delivering packages for Amazon when Hamilton pushed her into the mailroom and shut the door. He then reportedly sexually assaulted her and forced him afterwards to drive him to an ATM where he used her debit card to withdraw $100. I think he actually held her hostage for a bit longer driving around before he parted ways with the victim. The apartment building manager told police they knew Hamilton by name as a result of his arrest at the property on March 5th and January 2nd for criminal trespassing. Now listen to this guy's background, all right? Hamilton had been arrested for kidnapping and robbery in 2020 in relation to his assault on a 24-year-old woman at Academy Place. He was convicted of those offenses in July 2022 and received a 6-year sentence. Wait a minute. 2022, that means if he was going to serve out his entire 6 years, he would have been released in 2028. But wait, it's only 2024. He did 2 years and got out, probably less than 2 years. That's not right. That's not right. But at the very least, knowing that this person had a history of violent crime and assaulting women and was convicted of it, why in the world would you put the guy back out on bond? I mean, at some point, how do you defend that as a magistrate, that decision? And I think we're getting those kind of decisions a lot. Now, I'm not going to let the DA's office off the hook here, and I'm not going to let the prison system off the hook here. I think that we need to talk about at work at all of these areas. If you've got a violent offender in for us, if it's the second time and you've got a past history, let's make that bond significant. Let's make it hard for that person to get out of jail, number one. Number two, once you've been arrested, let's prosecute these people to the full extent of the law. Now, I think a lot of times in Nashville, I hear from rank-and-file police officers frustrated by the fact that the district attorney's office doesn't take many cases to trial. They get with the lawyers, they work out some kind of plea agreement. Sometimes they downgrade the charge in exchange for a guilty plea. Let's stop that crap right now. Let's take these cases to court. Let's take these people to trial. And until they go to trial, keep them behind frickin' bars. Okay, and then once you get a conviction, let's keep them in jail. Let's not do a 6-year sentence and have him out in less than 2. That's just wrong. We need to get serious about prosecuting these people. We need to get serious about keeping them behind jail. Whatever the problem is, let's fix those problems. Well, we don't have enough jail space. Well, okay, let's get some more. I mean, whatever we have to do, because the number one responsibility of the judicial system is not to look out for the rights of the criminal. It's to look out for protecting the public welfare, to make sure that we are safe as we move around Davidson County and Nashville. I guarantee you, in 6 months, you can make the situation a lot better, simply by taking the repeat violent offenders, putting them behind bars, and making them stay there to the full extent of the law. Now, I don't want to ever say that somebody is not eligible for bond. I mean, you're not guilty until proven so by a jury of your peers. But when you have a history, why are we letting these people out on low bonds? Why are we cutting plea deals with violent criminals, lowering the charges? And why is it when we do get convictions in those rare cases, we don't make somebody spend that full amount of time behind bars? We need to really get tough on this stuff. Chief Drake is right. I put more of the emphasis on our bond magistrates. I put a lot of emphasis on the prosecutors. I think police officers, by and large, are doing a good job. I don't always agree with Chief Drake, but I'm with him 1,000% on this one.
Very troubling, as I said. If you commit a murder and 6 months later you're out, or a year later you're out. We're seeing that trend pop up a lot more since 2020, and we're hoping. And the reason why I'm talking today is I'm hoping to shine some light, and some other people that'll see this will start saying we need to do our part too, and it's time for all of us to come to the table and try to fix this.
The chief went on to say, over the past year, 3,000 people in 1 year, 3,000 people arrested for crimes including homicide, rape, and aggravated assault. He said 16% of them have been rearrested while they were out on bond. Well, that takes a certain kind of gall, doesn't it? You're out on bond. You may even have an ankle bracelet, but you go out and you commit another crime. We need to make this better. We need to make this really better. And look, I think that part of the problem is we have a lot of young people in this community who get involved in crime, who fall into bad circles and end up doing stupid things while they're young. And there's a feeling in the system, well, let's not penalize young people for making bad judgments. You know what? I'm done with that. Your obligation is not to the criminal. Your obligation is to the public at large. Your obligation is to make sure that bad people are put behind bars so the rest of us can be safe. And right now, I just hate to say it, in some parts of Nashville, you are not safe. And I'm tired of hearing, from these namby-pamby do-gooders who think, well, it's just there's something wrong with the criminal justice system. It's not fair to certain people in our community. I don't care. If you do the crime, you ought to do the time. And all of this stuff that's being done in the name of quote unquote community policing needs to come to a quick halt. Let's get serious about fighting crime in this city. Let's start putting bonds that mean something and keep people behind bars. Let's prosecute the cases. And when we get them convicted, let's keep them in jail for the full length of their sentence. Don't let them out 6 months after a murder. Come on. It's 50 minutes now past the hour of 5 o'clock. Grace Point Healthcare is the standard for affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine. How? Well, as a direct pay provider, your health care is delivered without red tape that comes with insurers' guidelines. Do you really want your insurance company making decisions, or should that just be between you and your doctor? I think it should be between you and your doctor. Smart care plans are possible that make this all affordable. They start at $69 a month, and you get a lot for that. You get free office visits, and your basic labs for the entire year are covered. Grace Point identifies and treats the root causes of a condition, not just the symptoms, utilizing a comprehensive and functional approach. And usually, by seeing you the same day, maybe the next day, you're treated at your convenience. Have you ever tried to get a hold of a doctor and get a right now appointment? It's not easy. Grace Point Healthcare is affordable, comprehensive, and convenient medicine delivered the old-fashioned way. They are located on Main Street in Franklin. Here's the number, 615-599-6868. That's 599-6868 to schedule an appointment.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
6 o'clock, I'm Mac Maury with your top story. 78 degrees in Nashville. Traffic and a weather forecast coming up in 5 minutes. A shift in protesting tactics at Columbia University in New York, the school threatening expulsions. Here's Derek Dennis.
Columbia taking a stand against pro-Palestinian protesters who set up an encampment and have occupied a building. A statement from the Ivy League school reads, the protesters have chosen to escalate the situation through their actions. Students occupying the building face expulsion. Students who did not commit to the terms we offered are now being suspended. This is about responding to the actions of the protesters, not their cause. The demonstrations are over the Israel-Hamas war in the Middle East, and protester demands that the university divest itself from Israel.
Right now in Tennessee, the volunteer state could be one of the few states in the nation that would make it a felony to assist minors with out-of-state abortions. HB 1895, SB 1971 would make it a felony for adults who help pregnant minors get an out-of-state abortion without a parent's consent. The ACLU sent a letter to Governor Lee. They asked him to veto the proposed legislation. They called it a, quote, unprecedented attack on the First Amendment right to free speech and expression. The law would charge an adult with a Class C felony who recruits, harbors, or transports a minor out of state for an abortion or for obtaining medication for an abortion. This does not apply to parents or legal guardians. And a key witness in Donald Trump's New York hush money trial testified today. The jury heard from the lawyer who represented both the Playboy playmate and adult film star said to have had sexual encounters with Mr. Trump when he was a TV personality. Olivia Rubin was there.
Keith Davidson, the former attorney to both Karen McDougal and Stormy Daniels, told the jury in detail about brokering that critical $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels. He spoke about coming into it last minute as the National Enquirer backed out, and he took over handling the deal with Michael Cohen. But critically, he spoke about how once that deal was solidified and a date was set for the deadline of payment, it never occurred.
And Davidson set to return to court Thursday for more testimony. And a fire here in Tennessee. At least one person dead after a crash this morning in Gallatin. Officials say that a car ran into a concrete pillar and burst into flames. Multiple vehicles were involved. It was near the 2300 block of Nashville Pike at the Vietnam Veterans Boulevard bypass. That's in Hendersonville. That roadway now reopened. It was closed for hours this afternoon. And that is the latest news, traffic, and weather on the way. I'm Mac Maury, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
It is 7 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I am Brian Wilson, and I am your friend and radio buddy. And we're got one more hour before we hand it over to Mark Levin at the top of 7. So let's get started. I didn't see this coming, and this is not good. Just late breaking news today. Couple of different organizations reporting this particular element of the story. White House considers welcoming some Palestinians from war-torn Gaza as refugees. Okay. The Biden administration is considering bringing certain Palestinians to the U.S. as refugees, a move that would offer a permanent safe haven to some of those fleeing war-torn Gaza, according to internal federal government documents obtained by CBS News. In recent weeks, the documents show senior officials across several federal U.S. agencies have discussed the practicality of different options to resettle Palestinians from Gaza who have immediate family members who are American citizens or permanent residents. Of those proposals involves one of those proposals involves decades-old United States refugee admissions program to welcome Palestinians with U.S. ties who have managed to escape Gaza and enter neighboring Egypt. Top U.S. officials have also discussed getting additional Palestinians out of Gaza and processing them as refugees if they have American relatives, the documents show. The plan would require coordination with Egypt, which so far refused to welcome large numbers of people from Gaza. Here is the important missing element to the story thus far. Those who pass a series of eligibility, medical, and security screenings would qualify to fly directly to the U.S. with refugee status, which offers beneficiaries, you ready? You ready for this? Permanent residency, resettlement benefits like housing assistance, and, wait for it, a path to American citizenship. While the eligible population is expected to be relatively small, the plans being discussed by U.S. officials could offer a lifeline to Palestinians fleeing the Israeli-Hamas war. How do you sort out the good ones from the bad ones? I mean, is everybody in Gaza a member of Hamas? No. But how do you tell the difference? How do you know? I have real concerns about this, especially against this backdrop. Are you ready? This story from FoxNews.com is quite revealing. The Biden administration, remember we told you, was flying people who were they considered to be refugees directly into the United States, bypassing the border. They were doing this using their application. You basically got on your phone. If you're in a place like Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, or Venezuela, you got on your phone and you made an application through this app that the Biden administration put out there. And then if you got approved, you would fly then directly to the United States. Well, Republicans have been trying to figure out exactly where have they been flying the 320,000 people who were allowed into this country fly in directly without having to go to the border. And by the way, they have the same refugee status, and therefore they have a pathway to citizenship as well. During an 8-month period, this is from January through August of 2023, they say 200,000 migrants flew to the United States. Of those, 80% arrived in the state of Florida, in the cities of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and Tampa Bay. I would suggest to you that this is an attempt by the Biden administration to up the number of people who might be able to vote in the coming election or in future elections and try to flip Florida from being what has become a red state back into a blue state. 161,000 people can change the direction of an election. The policy first announced for Venezuelans in October of 2022, which allowed a limited number to fly or travel directly to the United States as long as they had not entered illegally, had a sponsor in the U.S., and passed certain biometric and biographical vetting. Program does not itself facilitate flights. Migrants are responsible for their own travel. Then in January 23, the administration announced the program was expanding to include Haitians, Nicaraguans, and Cubans, and that the program would allow up to 30,000 more people to come into the United States. Now, Alejandro Mayorkas, DHS secretary, says the program is safe and orderly. It's a way to reach the United States and led to a reduction in the numbers of those nationalities. And a key element of our efforts to address the unprecedented level of migration in other countries around the world see this as a model to tackle the challenge of increased irregular migration that they too are experiencing. Yes, everybody will be doing it this way. So here are the top 15 cities. See if you note any connection, any similarities to these cities. Number 1, Miami, 91,821. 91,000 people flew directly to Miami. Fort Lauderdale, 60,461. New York City, 14,827. Houston, Texas, a little less than 8,000. Florida, Orlando, Florida, a little over 6,000. Los Angeles, California, 3,271. Tampa, Florida, 3,237. Dallas, Texas, 2,256. A little over 2,000 to San Francisco, a little less than 2,000 to Atlanta, about 1,500 to Newark, 1,400 to Washington, D.C., Chicago, Illinois, 500, Las Vegas, 483, and Austin, Texas, 171. Now, I think, I correct me if I'm wrong, but I think each and every one of these is a blue city. Even Houston, Texas is sort of an island of blue surrounded by a sea of red. Certainly Austin is. And they're trying to get these people into these areas where they can find a pathway to citizenship and can vote. Why? Especially when you talk about Florida, they're trying to flip Florida. I mean, that's long been a goal of Democrats. They really regret that they lost Florida, and Florida has become a more reliable red state, but it's not by a red state by much, and throwing 161,000 people into Florida could change that. Los Angeles, that's to actually, I mean, you're not going to change the vote in Los Angeles, but what's happening in Los Angeles? They're losing people. They're leaving Los Angeles in droves, and so this is an attempt to get the numbers back up in places like Los Angeles and San Francisco and Washington, D.C. and Chicago, Illinois, get the numbers back up to sort of alleviate the fact that so many people have left. Why? Well, we got a census coming up, and when you have a loss in population, you lose congressional seats, you lose electoral college votes. So they're trying to sort of support these cities where there has been a population has been leaving. People have been voting with their votes, but with their feet. Now they're trying to put more people in there to sort of stem the loss of people from those communities. New York City, 14,000. Wow. I'm telling you right now, it's becoming more and more clear what the strategy is. Now, some people coming into the United States don't have a pathway to citizenship, those that came across the border. But here's what happens. In real, honest terms, some states will allow you to go, even though you're an illegal migrant and you're in the country illegally. They will let you get a driver's license. They will let you get a driver's license, right? So you go and you get your driver's license, and the nice lady behind the window at the DMV says, "Are you an American citizen?" If you say yes, then you get a little star. Check your driver's license. You got a little star there. It says you're a U.S. citizen. All right? But they don't check to see if you are. They don't ask you for evidence. They don't challenge you when you do that. They simply say, okay. And they check the box and you get the star. Then you can go and get a voter registration. And then you can vote. Now, it's not legal, but you can do it. because the only thing that stops you is whether or not you're willing to lie to the lady at the DMV window. That's really the way it is. So I think what they've been doing is they've been bringing people into areas where they want to have an impact on the elections. This is all about elections. You know, it really, honestly, when I've been saying that, you know, boy, when I first started saying this, when it first started happening, I say, I tell you what, this is the Biden administration. They're trying to find a pathway to citizenship. But even if you don't have a pathway to citizenship, you can fake your way to a voter registration card. You can lie your way to it. And people, I mean, I got blasted by people on the left. Say, well, you don't know what you're talking about, Wilson. This is not about elections. It's about, you know, people who are looking for a better way. No, it's always been about elections. And there is an evil element to their plan. And certainly these people who are flying directly into the country who are automatically given refugee status do have a pathway to citizenship. There's no doubt about it. And then now that we find out that what they're doing is they're putting them into communities where there has been either a loss of population because people have been so disgusted with the way things are out in places like San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York City. They're trying to build back up those numbers so they don't lose electoral votes. They don't lose congressional seats to other areas. They're rebalancing the nation is what they're trying to do. They're rebalancing the nation to make sure that there are more Democrats eventually. I don't know. I got a bad feeling about this. I think we're in for, I don't know how you challenge that. So you're a poll worker, right? And somebody comes through, they don't speak really good English. They look like they are new to this country. But they have a voter registration card because their driver's license says they're American citizens. How do you challenge that at the polls? How do you then come back later and challenge that vote and saying this person wasn't really an American citizen? And how do you do that in the time frame that's allowed from the time the votes are cast and counted until the time the elections are certified? It's a very narrow window. You might, over time, be able to challenge enough votes to change some elections, but it takes time. And time runs out pretty quickly. I'm feeling we got snake bit on this one. And the only thing that I can say is I hope that the support for Donald Trump in the coming election is so great that we're able to overcome anything that the Democrats are trying to pull on us. Because I'm telling you, anybody who tells you that people who should not vote, vote, if they try to tell you that there aren't people who cheat in the electoral system, they're lying. There are people who cheat. The problem is it's incredibly difficult to prove it because we don't have the laws in place that effectively challenge and make people prove they are who they say they are and that they are indeed American citizens eligible to vote in a federal election. There's going to be a lot. You're going to hear a lot more about this. I promise you in the next day or so. This story just breaking late today. 20 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. You know, Mother's Day is almost here, and my friends at Genesis Diamonds are helping you celebrate her in a very big way. Whether it's her first Mother's Day or her 60th Mother's Day, she will appreciate something thoughtful and timeless from Genesis. And you don't have to break the bank. Genesis has put together a fantastic collection of sentimental gifts, things that she can wear all the time. Layered necklaces, colored gemstones, bracelets, rings, pearls, eternity bands, diamond pendants. And this year, some of Genesis' exclusive designers have come in with even more great pieces. New, fashion-forward designs that any mom will appreciate. So stop in, let one of Genesis' trusted advisors help you find a special and meaningful gift. Let the team at Genesis do what they do best. Help you find the most perfect, most affordable, and most beautiful piece of jewelry for the occasion. Genesis is the premier jeweler here with a reputation for high quality and extreme value It's a great experience. Happy Mother's Day from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills, and Cool Springs.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
It's 25 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock. We're ticking it down till 7 o'clock when we leave here and we let Mark Levin take over because, you know, he's here. That's what they say every night. He's here. And we love it when he's here. I want to just bring you up to speed on the Trump trials a little bit. The judge in the case has fined Donald Trump $9,000 and threatened to throw him in jail for repeatedly violating gag orders that restrict the former president from making public statements about potential witnesses in his hush-money trial. The court finds defendant in criminal contempt for willfully disobeying a lawful mandate of the court, said Judge Juan Merchan in an 8-page ruling that said that if it happens again, Trump could face jail time if he spouts off one more time. Look, I'm telling you, I think he has the right to, I mean, everybody's talking about him. How can he not have the right to say, you know, anything in his own defense, to criticize the process? Because I think the process is worthy of and you know what? I double dog dare them to throw this guy in jail. You try that. You know what? You've already gone too far. You really have. I mean, this whole thing is backfiring on you because people are looking at Donald Trump. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He's Obi-Don Kenobi. Because you keep coming at him, and every time you come at him, he just gets stronger and stronger.
If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
That's right. He does. He gets stronger every time you come at him. So, again, $9,000 fine. I would have loved it if Trump just rolled out a big roll of bills and just counted off $9,000 in cash. That would have been great, huh? I don't know. Anyway, Jonathan Turley says the Trump trial judge may have already committed reversible error. Let me see if I can get into this. Said that the judge presiding over forum may have committed a reversible error by allowing prosecutors to make certain arguments. I got to tell you, I think the judge has committed reversible error. He could try to amend it. He could try to change it in his instructions. But that jury has now been told repeatedly that there are federal election crimes here, strongly suggesting that the payments to Stormy Daniels did violate federal election law, and that's not true. The New York Court of Appeals ruled in a 4-3 decision Thursday that the erroneously admitted testimony about unrelated incidents and other actions by the judge presiding over the rape trial of disgraced Hollywood producer Harvey Weinstein were egregious errors that required a new trial. Turley also previewed testimony from former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, who's expected to be a star witness for the prosecution. Michael Cohen is literally going to tell the jury, please send my client to jail for following my legal advice. All of the stuff that they are talking about, he set up. He structured and told his client that we could do this. So there you go. There, I love Jonathan Turley. Is a national treasure. I love his ability to cut through these legal issues in a way that everybody can understand. So there you go. Now here's a bit of good news for the Donald. New York Supreme Court Judge Juan Merchan, who is overseeing Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's hush money trial, ruled that former President Donald Trump can attend his son Barron's high school graduation. Well, thank goodness for that. Come on. Trump's youngest son, Barron, is set to graduate May 17th from the Oakbridge Academy, located west of West Palm Beach, Florida, according to the Palm Beach Post. The judge granted the former president permission to attend during Tuesday's hearing, according to reporters on the scene. The former president previously fumed over potentially missing his son's graduation due to the trial, that I can't go to my son's graduation or I can't go to the United States Supreme Court, that I'm not in Georgia or Florida or North Carolina campaigning like I should be. It's perfect for the radical left Democrats. It's exactly what they want. Merchan did not grant Trump's permission to attend U.S. Supreme Court oral arguments on April 25th regarding his request for presidential immunity involving special counsel Jack Smith. There we go. A little bit of good news. But I do think that it is entirely possible that if he spouts off again, the judge will have to decide. And I kind of hope he does, because I don't think the judge will actually do it. But if he did, and he had to spend one night in the Gray Bar Hotel, it would work to his advantage long term, because Americans would be completely outraged. Time for the news at 6:30. A message from our friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You know, there are no pills or spinal creams or easy solutions when you have an aching back. Nothing that opens up your spinal disc magically and takes the pressure off your nerves. See, you have two choices here. One is surgery, go under the knife, or you can try non-invasive spinal decompression. Why wouldn't you try that first? See, I chose non-surgical spinal decompression at the Wellness Institute of Nashville, and it was very good for me. It really helped me a lot, both in my neck and my lower back. Their state-of-the-art facilities and their high-tech equipment offer the latest non-surgical procedures. Getting better is, of course, important, so Dr. Kevin Mitchell and Dr. Ashley are offering half-off spinal decompression treatment and the KT machine. KT machine sort of like spinal decompression for your knee. Sort of stretches out your knee gently so that the healing therapy can go deep within the knee. Listen, here's the deal. If you are a new patient, $23 gets you an exam, consultation, and your first treatment. I mean, that's a heck of a deal, right? You'll get to start feeling better almost immediately, I think. In most cases, he can really help you, like he helped me. Now, I put my stamp of approval on the Wellness Institute of Nashville, so call them today at 615-246-5009 and learn more at painisbad.com.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lockboxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
.38 minutes now past the hour of 6 o'clock on Super Talk 99.7. I'm Brian Wilson, and this is The Drive for the next 22 minutes before we hand it over to Mark Levin. Hope you're getting home safely. Hope you had a good work day. Got a lot accomplished. Now you got time to get home, jump out of the car, and you can pull a few weeds on the way in. You know, because
don't ruin my evening.
No,
like
the
that.
weeds in your flower bed, quite frankly, are really, the neighbors are talking.
They're complaining. Yeah, I know.
I'm telling you, I got a lot of flower beds that need to be weeded. And anybody wants to weed flower beds, give me a call. I want to explore this idea that I think that something has happened in just the last few days Now, I'm gonna tell you, if you've been listening to this show for a long time, you know that I have been saying that the numbers for the presidential race between Biden and Trump have been tightening, very close. They've been tightening, so that the general election number was like almost tied in the Real Clear Politics average of polls. But then something happened. And I'm gonna try to identify what it is. Okay, you ready? This is from Byron York over at the Washington Examiner. Very smart man. In late March and early April, Biden did rise in the polls a bit. According to Real Clear Politics average of national polls, Trump has led Biden in head-to-head matchups since September of 23. They were tied for one brief moment in October, but during his March-April bump, Biden's deficit shrank, coming within 0.2 of a point, catching Trump. This is again in the average of polls. And Democrat hopes rose. Oh, he's got some mo. Things are starting to happen. We're seeing a turn. They were very excited. Biden's position in the polls is improving against Trump at the time, declared polling analyst Nate Silver. It looks like to me the Biden numbers against Trump have improved by a hair, probably to a degree that isn't statistical noise. Even a slight improvement was like manna from heaven for Democrats and their allies in the media. Alas, writes Byron York, it did not last long. On Sunday came a poll from CNN that was simply devastating for the president's reelection hopes. Now remember, as Byron York says, and I agree, a poll is just a freeze frame of the race at the moment. It doesn't mean things won't change, but it gives us an idea of where things stand right now. And the CNN poll showed Biden's standing deteriorating before our eyes. The headline was that the poll showed Trump with a 6-point lead over Biden, 49-43, in a head-to-head matchup. If you add the five-way race, it was a 9-point lead. A 9-point lead. Now, okay, you say, well, is that an anomaly? Is that just one poll that just missed it? You know, one of what they call an outlier? Was it an outlier poll? No, because there were other polls that showed, yes, something is going on. Another poll that was taken from April 18th to 23, when Trump's trial in Manhattan was underway and the subject of wall-to-wall news reports, there was even this, of course, was that meant that people had considered the Trump trial in Manhattan and it didn't bother them. Then, even more damaging for Biden was that he, when asked to assess both the Trump and Biden presidency, 55% of those surveyed called Trump's presidency a success, and 61% called Biden's presidency a failure. This is a unique election in which both candidates have been president of the United States. That means that voters can make apples to apples comparison, and it doesn't look good for Biden. Remember, 55% say Trump's presidency was a success. 61% said Biden's presidency is a failure. Two more polls have come out since the CNN survey. A Harvard-Harris poll had Trump leading by 4, with a Morning Consult poll having the candidates tied at 43. The Real Clear Politics average of polls a couple of weeks ago showed the race almost tied, with Trump now ahead by 1.4 percentage points. That's the average. It takes a long time to cause the average to go up. But something is going on. Something is big. Here are numbers today from the battleground states. Listen to this. Emerson. These are five-way numbers because I think the five-way numbers are the more accurate way to look at this. In Arizona, Trump leads by 4. In Georgia, Trump leads by 6. In Michigan, Trump leads by 1. In Nevada, Trump leads by 5. In North Carolina, Trump leads by 9. In Pennsylvania, Trump leads by 4. In Wisconsin, Trump leads by 5. Listen, the real battleground states here, I think Arizona, I think Nevada, I think North Carolina, you start to put those in Trump's column because he's been doing pretty well in those states for quite a while. But if you look at the 3 real battleground states, Michigan, Trump leads by 1, Pennsylvania up by 4, Wisconsin up by 5. Something is going on. What is it? Well, Mark Penn is a Democrat pollster, used to poll for Bill Clinton, but don't hold that against him, because even though he's a Democrat pollster, he's one of the rare ones who will actually tell you what the numbers show and not try to spin you. Here is Mark Penn last night on Fox News.
Most Americans look at these protests, they don't see any American flags there. They see quite the opposite, that they seem to be anti-American, anti-Israel, some of them even pro-Hamas, and it's really backfiring. There's been no change in American support for Israel and for getting the hostages out and for getting Hamas out of Gaza. And that has not changed, even though these things have gone on. But the more Joe Biden caters to the base of the party and to these demonstrators, his rating on this issue goes down, not up. I think he's made a major miscalculation there. The swing voters are looking for world leadership, and that means standing up to terrorists. That means hanging tough. That means solving some of these problems in the Mideast, and they don't see that yet. Now, look, a lot can happen, but that is not what the American voters are seeing today, and you're seeing these polls that were closing going the other way now and widening. And let me just make one last point. The biggest reason they're widening is that Joe Biden has a 44% job approval, and Donald Trump, when asked about his presidency, has a 55% job approval. Joe Biden has to close that gap, or it's going to be a tough race.
Tough race for Biden, not necessarily for Trump. I mean, something has happened. We got like 2 or 3 polls that have come in that show that there has been movement in the election. So what's been going on? Well, all that you see on TV right now are the protests in schools around the country. I mean, and people in America don't like it. And then they look at their president, and he's refusing to condemn what is actually nothing less than anti-Semitism. And American people don't like it. American people, by and large, continue to support Israel. But the Biden administration, because they're so fearful of losing young voters who seem to be enamored with this whole idea that somehow the Palestinian cause is worthy of their time and attention, and they're out there protesting and saying hateful, anti-Semitic things, calling for basically the removal of Jews from Israel. From the river to the sea, they say. So I don't think that's sitting well with the American people. And I think the other thing is, I think a lot of people are looking at this trial that's going on in Manhattan, where Trump is required to sit there every day and not go out on the campaign trail. I think that they have made up their mind about this a long time ago, and I think they decided they don't care. And they don't like what is being done to Trump. They see it as being unfair. Now, one thing that Americans will never stand for, that I'm talking about real Americans who live in this country and work hard every day, they do not like just seeing something that is unfair. And this looks like it's pretty unfair. They think this judge has got it in for Trump, and they would be right. So I think those two things in combination have helped the Trump numbers tremendously in very short order. Now, will it last? Nobody knows. I mean, tomorrow something could happen that change it again. But something is happening after a tightening of the polls and a tightening of the polls throughout March and early April. About middle of the month, something started to shift. Again, I think that what you're seeing is a movement in the middle, because I think on the left, they don't like Donald Trump and they're never going to vote for him. On the right, they love Donald Trump. They're going to vote for him. It's the people in the middle who are still to be persuaded out there, who can still move one way or the other. And what they see on television disturbs them. And they don't think Biden is handling it well. The other thing that they don't see is they don't see any improvement in the economy. They don't see any improvement on the situation on the border. These are all issues that fall in the direction of Donald Trump and against Biden. And as I look at these numbers, I'm beginning to think that there really is something going on. Again, it's early. Again, it's a snapshot. I'm not telling you it's over. I'm just telling you that something is going on, and we need to acknowledge it. The Biden administration is panicked, and they're trying to throw all kinds of garbage into the pipeline to get it on the books and on the record before they potentially lose this election. They're panicking. In other news, Robert F. Kennedy qualifies for the ballot in California. Independent presidential hopeful Robert F. Kennedy is qualified for the ballot in California. His campaign announced on Monday, making the third official state the dark horse is now qualified. He's only qualified in 3 states. The long-shot independent and his running mate, Nicole Shanahan, have qualified in ballots in California, Michigan, and Utah. But they've also met the ballot signature threshold in New Hampshire, Nevada, Hawaii, North Carolina, Idaho, Nebraska, and Iowa. But he met the criteria to appear in the Golden State after securing the support of the American Independent Party of California. So he's moving along and he's getting on more and more ballots. I think both the RFK, I think that both Biden and Trump have now started to look askance. I thought the numbers sort of suggested that RFK hurt Biden more than it hurt Trump. So I didn't really mind him being there. I'm not sure that's true in a couple of these battleground states, which is really where you got to focus. Listen, blue states are going to vote blue, and red states are going to vote red. It's those battleground states to watch, and RFK may be having an impact that affects both parties in those battleground states. 50 minutes now past the hour.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.